session prep today. We played last week. I missed the session prep session on Tuesday that I was planning to do. Work got the better of me. But so my plan tonight is to first look at the last session, the encounters and stuff that happened in the last session, figured out what worked, what didn't work, and kind of what the players actually ended up skipping over. See if we can reuse that. I always like to try to reuse things if possible. If there's any way for me to reuse an encounter to kind of slip it back in if it's either skipped or trivialized in such a way that the players didn't even go to it. Then I tried to reuse it. Basically, see if I can put it someplace else, or if the monsters were interested, I can use it. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Then after that, I'm going to look at the next session, which is the town of Thaeth. I think we've gone over this a couple of times. We've looked at the encounters. I'm going to basically have 3 there, and we'll go into them in a little more detail. I think last time we went through it, we kind of reviewed it fairly well, and I think they're balanced enough and interesting enough to kind of get the the party's attention. And in the last session, I did some hinting. We'll talk about that a little bit to kind of get them pumped and at least know what's going on. They have an idea of who's there and what's interesting, what's going on. And then I figure after that, there's probably going to be some more time, and I'm going to look at the after this session. So my goal is that after this fighting in the town, they'll do some fighting. They'll have 3 encounters. They'll do some social encounters. They'll talk. They'll have to talk both to the elves who they're conquering, presuming they don't actually go and just start murdering all the elves, assuming they're not committing atrocities. They will have to talk with these elves, and they'll also have to talk with the other people in their troop who are also invading with them, and we'll get more into that. Basically, if you watched the last session prep session, one of the guys that joined me on audio, Bijo, aka I think Silent Ranger is his Twitch name. He came in and he kind of spitballed a bunch of ideas he had for the campaign with me because he was so interested watching it that he jumped in and said, hey, here's some cool ideas. And I'm really open to that. I definitely want to talk to more Pathfinder GMs, other GMs in general, to get not only ideas on the encounters and the balance and any cool monsters or spells or things that I just don't know about because I've only been playing 2nd edition for a couple months now, but also just, ideas and suggestions on how I'm running things, just the session, the setting, the plan basically. So yeah, I come on, I do a night or 2 of session prep every week now, usually for 3 hours, and hopefully that's enough. I do a little bit also off stream, but I do most of it here just to get it out there, get it out in the world and participate. So if you're around, if you're listening, if you care at all, hey, join me, chat, hit me up, check out the YouTube videos. I export everything to YouTube. Same name, Jay Bosky on everything, so just come and find me. All right, so in the last session, I'm also going to play some background music. So I downloaded during the Humble Bundle a while ago. There was a Dark Fantasy Studio had like a pack, and I forgot how much it was. It was $30 or $50, and you get like 12 albums, whatever it is. So I'm just going to have that going in the background. I'm just kind of going to be passively listening to this one. This is called Dark Ventures, and I just kind of want to listen to it, see if there's any good music that I might want to incorporate in the adventure, because Foundry has the cool playlist stuff. So basically, I already put a couple of things in there. I have like an intro song that I play at the beginning of every session. I have the elf ambience music. This is what I usually play when they're like just wandering around the elf hinterlands. They're moving through the forest. There's not a fight happening. There's this. It's called it's called Fallen Leaves, and it's really good. It kind of captures, moving through a beautiful forest. This is elven land. This is it's nice. It's wonderful. So yeah, that's what I've been playing for that, and I had a bunch of fight type music that I play every once in a while, blah blah blah. So basically, I'm constantly on the lookout for either free music or music that I can legally buy and acquire the rights to and play, so I don't have to have any problems with copyright takedowns on the stream or on YouTube. I'm also interested in supporting the artist. So I love RPG art. I love the kind of music that fits well with the games we're playing. So I do want to support those people. I'm active on Patreon. I don't support as many as I probably should, but I do support a bunch of really good map makers and token makers, and I encourage you to look them up. Whenever I talk about them, Devin Knight, he has a token website. I'm actually not sure if he has a Patreon. Jan Liu is another portrait token artist that I use, and a bunch of my maps are done by Gabriel Picard. Not this one specifically that we're looking at right now, but yeah, a bunch of them are. And yeah, I'm active on Patreon. I'm supporting all these people. I buy them on Drive through RPG. Some people sell through there. So yeah, I always try to make note of all the people I'm using, all the art of the people that I'm using, who's making all this stuff. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I love collecting cool stuff and using it and making really beautiful maps and really interactive scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So in the last session, we picked up and the party had just finished this forest clearing fight. Their Squirrel was the ranger, Puck is an oracle, Even is a barbarian, an animal instinct barbarian who he has like the shark instinct, so he bites when he rages basically. Puck, his oracle is a cosmos oracle, so he has like a kind of like, it's not burning hands, it's called like shoot of stars or something. What's it called? Come over here and check it out. Spray of stars. It's kind of like a burning hands but with stars. It's a little different. And Franco is a braggart swashbuckler. So those are who I had last week. Those were 4 people. As I said before in one of the previous sessions, the way we're playing it is kind of like a pickup game or a jam game, or not quite Westmarches. Like Westmarches means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So, but not quite Westmarches. Where basically we have a bunch of people, we're all like in our 30s and a bunch of us have kids, so we can't make every session. But I've dedicated to run a game every other Saturday, and whoever can make it can make it. So we try to do RSVPs. I try to get people who haven't played in the last session. I give them the first week. So like, we played last Saturday, so between then and now, anybody who didn't play in the last session gets first crack at jumping to the next one. And then after that, so like starting like right now today, anybody else can join in. So this week no one took the early slots, so we have coming back for sure so far. I know Puck is coming back. I know Franco is coming back. And looking at Discord real quick, I see that Will, aka Squirrel, is also coming back. So far we have three of the same. We're getting a little bit of a same party here. I don't know if Even will be coming back yet. And there's a bunch of other people in the party. If I go back to the start screen, you can see here, there's Franco, Squirrel, Puck, and Even. There's also, Karen is a champion. I forget what the evil champion is called. Desecrator or something like that. She is a... Yes, a Desecrator goblin. Oh yeah, and everybody's goblins. I kind of assume people know that at this point, but it kind of became a joke when we were making characters where somebody said they wanted to be a goblin, and because again, Pathfinder 2 has goblins as a playable race, and in Pathfinder 1 and most D&D games that wasn't like a default option. It was something that you could do, but it wasn't a like a readily accessible, this is in the core book kind of thing. So Jeff ran with that when he made Franco, and then somebody else said, oh, G-Pain this bard, I'll also be a goblin. And it kind of just spiraled out of control from there. So now everybody's goblins. So Karen's a champion. That's Larry. Larry has yet to play. Hemo is a sorcerer, an imperial sorcerer, I believe it is, and he also hasn't played yet. Gerhardt G-Pain is a bard, and he has played in a session. And Fumbar is an alchemist who's also played in a session. So whoever wants to show up, I think I said a max of 5 people, because I don't really want to run a game that's that big. I don't want to have like a 6-person game. I don't know how well the balance of that works in Pathfinder 2. And again, I'm new to running Pathfinder 2. I've been running 3.5 and also Pathfinder 1 games for more than a decade, I guess. And I'm still running one. I'm still running the Hell's Vengeance campaign in Pathfinder 1 that's been going on for like 4 years now. And I just started this fresh one now, and I decided we'll go 2E with this. I'm a little behind the times, but catching up. Alright, so that's the party. We don't know who's going to come. Like I said, I think we have Franco, Squirrel, and Puck have said yes. Even might... Gerhardt says he wants to. He's not sure if he can make it, but we'll find out. So my goal is to design things so that they're easily scaled. If only 3 people show up, or if all 5 people show up, I need to be able to kind of rip things away in a way that is quick and easy and, scale on the fly. Yeah, so getting back to it, going back to the forest clearing, this is where they wrapped up last time. They found this guard dog, and Squirrel didn't seem too interested in it. So I was looking at the rules for how, how you control a guard dog, and basically it's fairly prohibitive, especially if it's not an actual minion, if it's not an animal companion, which gets special rules, the minion rules. If you just want to control an animal, it's pretty difficult. they start the fight frightened 3, I think, or frightened 4, I forget which means, you know, they have a -3 or 4 on all their rolls, and they are fleeing. So you have to use one of your actions to do handle animal to calm them down and get a roll higher than their will save, which isn't that hard. It's a 14. It's not a piece of cake. Let's see, you can do what does squirrel have? Squirrels handle animal. I guess it's nature in this game, so it's 2. So that's, you know, you're gonna fail that a bunch of times. That's less than a 50-50 for squirrel, because all the goblins have a wisdom penalty. I don't think anybody really invested in making it better. I think there's maybe one that has a flat 0 to their wisdom. But yeah, so basically squirrel would have to spend one of his actions to calm the dog down and give it an order, and then it'll follow that order. Like, one action that you use is one action for an animal that you tell to do something, like you say attack or sit or stay, whatever it is. And if it's not a minion, it just gets the 1. A minion will get 2 actions for your 1 action, which makes it a bit more of an equitable trade. But so squirrel's looking at the fact that he has to calm this guard dog down. Even if he does succeed in calming it down and giving it an order, it's still going to be scared and ineffective in combat. And if he wants it to do 2 things, like if he wants it to attack twice or run and attack, then he's got to waste 2 actions. And he was looking at it and basically says, I'm not sure I even want this dog, if this dog is worth it. So yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. I didn't know the rules for how that would work when we first started, when he acquired the dog. And in fact, when this fight broke out, the reason he has this dog is there was this hunter here, and the hunter had 3 guard dogs. This hunter over here, and he's sitting like the goblins attack, so the hunter is sick his dogs on him. And I wasn't playing with the -4 rule. I did not know that they were supposed to be frightened 4, because they're hunting dogs. They're not war dogs or whatever you want to call them. So yeah. So I kind of slipped up on that, and then when we actually went back and read the rules for how Squirrel would do it, Squirrel decided, you know what, I don't even care about this dog. If he runs away, he runs away. So we kind of just forgot about the dog for the rest of the session. I ruled that it stayed with him throughout the encounters, and we'll go over them, but the dog was not present in any of the encounters. Squirrel never told him to do anything, and he was never even on the battle maps as far as I remember. So they picked up here, they did some role-playing, they did some healing, they looted. I love the loot sheet that Foundry has, where you can kind of just click on a token and hit loot selected tokens, kind of suck up all the loot into it, and then have the players, whatever they like, whatever they see, they can go ahead and drag to their sheet, and it warns you if a player does it. It says like, oh, Franco has interacted with the party common loot and taken fishing tackle out of it, or whatever it is. So that's really cool. I really like that. It's much better than how we used to track loot. It used to be like spreadsheets and all kinds of horrible stuff. So that's been pretty good. They did all that, they had a good time, and they continued on their way. I played the nice elven music, and I had 3 or 4 encounters lined up for them. And as of the last session where I was talking with Bijo and going over things, I had 3 or 4 encounters lined up. I decided, kind of on the spur of the moment, to go out of order, because I think when I shut down the last session prep, I was pretty sure I was going to go with the Homestead first, and I didn't. I changed my mind, and I went to the Forest Cabin first. So they went ahead, and as usual, Squirrel, the ranger, he scouts ahead. So he's ahead using the scout exploration activity, and everybody else was choosing to use the stealth one. So everybody is hiding and moving quietly through everything, and Squirrel scouting ahead. He's got a good perception check. He's a forest walker goblin, or a tree dweller goblin. So he's got some kind of bonus to being in the woods, and he's leading. Everything's going great. What is it? Tree dweller goblin over here. Yeah, he's good at hiding and sneaking in the forest and whatnot, subsisting there. So he's sneaking ahead, being stealthy, and doing his thing, and he spots a lone cabin. And of course, their curiosity is piqued, and they come looking at the cabin. Why wouldn't they? And it was a pretty funny scene. Squirrel snuck up, and he listened. He didn't hear anything. He didn't see anything. And then he kind of enticed the others to, hey, you should actually kick down the door. And then Even's, the guy who was playing Even had a family emergency, had to drop out for a little bit. So Even just wandered into the woods to take a piss or whatever, while everyone else dealt with the cabin. And that scared me a little bit, because I had designed this encounter to be like a severe level encounter. And having the barbarian walk off right at the beginning was, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I don't really want to scale it down too much. I still want this to be like a scary encounter. So I don't know. So that was a little worrisome, but he walked away. So it was Squirrel, Puck, and Franco. And Squirrel was hanging out over here, and he was basically watching and waiting. And Puck and Franco were trying to go into the door over here, and the door was closed. I had this tile over here. Had it like on top of it, so it was kind of like that. And then when they opened it, I revealed it. But yeah, so they came up, and Franco and Puck tried to basically burst open the door. And I made a oopsie there. Again, I'm coming from Pathfinder 1 and 3, 3.5. So they tried to, burst open the door, and I was like, oh, that's a strength check, right? That's in my brain. And someone asked, isn't that an athletics check? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And it is. It's completely and totally is an athletics check. I don't think you make raw ability checks anymore. I was asking in the Pathfinder 2 Discord. I don't think you make just raw ability checks. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. But like when you want to break down something, you use an athletics check. So that factors in your level. So, you get better at breaking things down. Otherwise, it would never really get all that better. So in any event, they failed, and they failed badly enough that actually using athletic bonuses in there wouldn't have changed it. So I think they both rolled like a 5 total. So they both bounced off the door, and it wasn't even that hard of a door to break, but they rolled so low. Hey, BJ, what's going on, man? I'm just reviewing the previous session real quick. Trying to look at what worked, what didn't, and what they skipped over. So they bounced off the door, and then they looked around, and I think it was Franco who said, like, is the map accurate? Is that chimney real? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then Puck, having heard that, Puck is a extra squishy goblin, I think is what it's called. I thought he was extra squishy right here, bonus feats. So he's like rubbery and gets a bonus to squeezing. And it's not actually a bonus to like squeezing well. It's basically if you have squoze somewhere, it's harder for you to get pulled out. We kind of roleplayed it, and he was like, yeah, he was super excited to go down this very narrow chimney, and he was like, you should have seen the smile on his face. It was great. So he went down, he went in there, and he came in, and basically he found that the door was trapped. So they couldn't open the door, and I was really excited because I had this trap set up, and I went over it in the last session when Bijo was on with me. I wanted to have this like bladder of wolf's urine, like rancid wolf urine, and that if you open the door the wrong way, it's going to swing and just smack the guy who's opening the door. And it was working out really well because Franco basically said that he wanted to tumble into the door. So he was making like an acrobatics check to tumble into it. And I was going to say like he tumbles into a shoulder. And I was really happy to have like the just bladder full of piss fly over him and hit Puck in the face. It did end up happening though. They didn't break down the door. And rather than trying again, they squozed through the chimney. They came out and they saw the trap from the inside. And that was really cool. Naz has just RSVP'd, so even the Barbarian is back in. The same party from last time is all back, and there is one slot left. Alright. So yeah, they saw the trap from the inside, and Puck did some investigation in there, did some searching, found that there was like basically this footlocker, and that there was a piece of wood underneath it, covered in dirt, that was like a secret kind of buried underneath it. He found it. He found a little secret loot for the Hermit. And then he said, okay, I'm going to be really careful. I'm going to take that piss jug off of the trap and open the door. He succeeded. I basically made him do like a thievery check. But he was on the inside disarming, and it was very obvious what it was. It wasn't like a complicated trap. So it was anything but a critical failure. It pretty much would have worked there, and he didn't fumble it, so he's fine. He did that. They had some talking. Franco and Puck go in there. They play around for a bit. They search. There's a bear trap underneath this, so they move the footlocker to get out what's underneath it. And once the weight is off of that, the bear trap snaps. And Puck, he saved his reflex, not crit saved, so he got kind of cut by it. Took half damage, but he wasn't trapped in a bear trap, and he didn't take full damage. So all that's going on, and while that was happening, Puck was just shouting. Like Puck was on the other side shouting to Franco and Squirrel, who were outside. He was just shouting, and they were shouting back. And I specifically like asked them, like, so you're shouting, yeah? And they said yes, of course. So the Hermit, who I was expecting to come back when the trap was triggered, like some loud noise would happen, heard all these goblins just shouting at his shack. So he came back. So they were all over here. So I don't remember the details, but Franco and Puck were over here. And these dark squares are where I had like the ideas of I was going to use traps. Over here I was going to have the marker trap, like the piss jug was a marker trap. It was going to get a scent on somebody so powerful that the hunter could track them if they ran away. And there was also an alarm trap here that if they'd done that, there'd be a loud noise, like a whistle or a loud metal thing falling down, something like that. And then these other two traps I had set up, I keep saying traps, really they're snares in Pathfinder 2E. I had these set to be just like the rough terrain traps. I think they're called, I forget what they're called. But if I come over here and I click on snare crafting, I can actually see it's called a hampering snare. Basically, it makes it rough terrain, so it's harder to get to. So the idea was he'd be over here with his ranged weapon, and he'd be slinging at them. I gave him a sling, like he was a doomsday prepper without a real bow. He's kind of like a hermit with very bad gear. And he was going to be slinging them from far away, and eventually they'd come running at him. And I always thought maybe I would move for the traps if I needed to, put them somewhere else. Basically, somewhere where they hadn't been before, so they'd walk through it, and all of a sudden it would be rough terrain, and it'd be hard to get to them. But that didn't end up happening. So he was slinging them from over here, and on his second turn, he crit fails, and we rolled the crit table, and he broke his weapon. Like, because we have the crit fail tables built in to Foundry. And yeah, he broke his ranged weapon. He broke his sling. He slung so hard he broke it. And yeah, so that was pretty hilarious. So this whole guy, his whole premise was like he's really good at slinging. I looted him now, so I can't see his attacks anymore. But he had a +10 to hit with his ranged weapon. I think he had a +7 or +8 with his melee club. So he was mostly built to sling, and he broke his sling on his second try, his second attack. So once that happened, and then I think Squirrel was shooting at him. He ran to the door, and Franco kind of tumbled back over here, and Even was still out of the fight for the whole time. So then it was meleeing him, it was getting good, and then this wolf jumps out from over here. So now Franco's freaking out because he's got this wolf biting at his ankles. Potentially, I think he did trip him once, because I think the wolf has a cool ability where if he bites you, he gets as a free action, well, not a free action, as an additional action, he knocks you down. But the cool thing about knockdown is there's no save on it. It's not like you have to make a check or they have to save against it. It's just, if I bit you, I can use an action to knock you down, and that's pretty sweet. So Franco's prone on the ground, being bitten at by a wolf, and pounded on with a club by the Hermit. And Puck's over here. Puck manages to use his healing spells to heal Squirrel and Franco. And together, they all manage to kill them. So I think the wolf at one point crit failed and like made himself bleed. But it didn't even matter, because by that time, Franco was stabbing really well, and Puck ran over and he was mashing his shears. So they won, but it was a very, it was a scary battle, where Puck did use 2 healing spells. I think he only has 2 per day. If I go over to his magic thing. Yeah, he only has 2 level 1 spells per day, and he used heal twice. He does have Spray of Stars, which is like a focus spell, which he can get back by taking a short rest, or whatever they call it, refocusing in Pathfinder 2. And yeah, so they used all their healing in the first fight. So again, it was supposed to be an intense fight. And like I said at the beginning, I had originally planned for this to be at the end of the session, but something didn't click right in my mind. When I was thinking about it before the session, I didn't like that I was originally going to go to the Homestead first, which is like a farm. It didn't make much sense to me that you'd go to a farm and then go back to a forest. It made more sense in my mind that, you're moving through the forest, you're still in the woods, you'd do a forest encounter, then you'd cross the river, and then you'd be in like the farmland area. So I figured, okay, we'll do the Homestead last. That was what I kind of decided, and we jumped right into the forest cabin. Went well. It was also good. Again, it was the hard encounter of the night. I think it was a severe level encounter, which is the highest level I've thrown at them so far. I've been kind of lobbing them easy fights in the beginning, especially the first couple sessions, because not only am I new as a GM to Pathfinder, I think all of the players, or Pathfinder 2 I should say, all of the players are also new to 2E. So I didn't want to just throw all these hard encounters after hard encounter at them. And I had the elves in the beginning. They were easier encounters, and for the harder encounters, I also made them drunk, which either gave them clumsy, or I made them act stupidly, like not taking optimal actions. But now I'm actually throwing, decent stuff at them. This was a severe fight, and I played it well. But again, the Hermit crit failed and broke his sling. That really helped. If he had been slinging that whole time until they closed the distance, it would have been a much different fight, I think. But that, it went the way it went. So right after the fight ended, Even came back. So now the Barbarian was back, and they were good to go. So I really did. I liked this fight. Again, I had these machinations in my head about how the traps were going to work and all the funny things, like when Puck got splashed in the face with piss. And oh yeah, Bijo pointed out that I did some journal entries, and he suggested this. The journal was all Bijo's idea. I didn't actually write it down in the VTT, but I did over here. I have Evernote, and again, if you have a better campaign note tracking system, let me know. But I don't think I want the full thing of like I don't know I forget what it's called, like those world builder things. I don't want to be able, I'm not putting lore into a book, basically, or a wiki that I want to do. But if you have a better note-taking system, let me know. So, yeah, so in the last session, or last prep session, we had Bijo on, and he was like, he suggested the idea that the Hermit was a doomsday prepper, that he had this secret stash of loot, and that he had this journal, and that the journal could be used to kind of foreshadow some of the stuff that I was talking about doing anyway. Specifically, that Gozreh is going to play an important role in this, because again, after this whole elf assault thing that we're doing, I want this to be something like the Odyssey. I want the goblins to be knocked off course and sent to Crazy Island Land, where they have to deal with sirens and Circe and all those Calypso, all that kind of stuff. So the main campaign is actually going to take place there. This is just a chapter 1, I guess you want to call it, but it's not even really a chapter. I don't really care what they do to these elves. I basically want to set up the stage so they make the decision. They piss off Gozreh. I feel like it's critically important. I don't want to just throw them in a thing of island and say, okay, now do the island campaign. I really do want them to piss off Gozreh. And we've gone over that, I think, in 1 or 2 of these session prep sessions, so I'm not going to harp on it. But anyway, so Bijo said, hey, you can use this journal to foreshadow that, and that was a really great idea. So I started it off where the journal's entries were all just like, oh, he's a farmer, he's a simple man, he grew a big pumpkin, he's really proud of being a farmer, he has 3 kids and a wife. And then I kind of I wrote a couple of just verses for like the end, where basically he's been cursed by Gozreh. And the players didn't get to it, or they skipped over it. They didn't do a deep reading. But basically, I think 2 of his sons die, is what I wrote, in the sea, and he, in a fit of anger, curses Gozreh. And basically, Gozreh takes everything from him. Gozreh not only being, sea and surf, wind and air, nature, seasons, rain, blah blah blah. So his field started dying off. And he cursed him even more, and then after a while he turned around and was like, oh god, what have I done? He tries to amend, he tries to make sacrifices, he tries to apologize, but Gozreh has made up his or her mind and basically is taking this guy out to dry. So at the end, he becomes like a full crazed doomsday prepper. His wife leaves him, takes his daughter away, his 2 sons died in the water. He loses his farm is withered and died. He abandons it all, runs to the woods, and begins scribbling horribly hastily written, ugly handwriting. Kind of, everything's over, all but her most pious servants have lost their way and they draw his ire, blah, blah, blah. And I tried to have fun. I tried to make it so that I changed pronouns every other time, because Gozreh is both, when he's representing the air, he's male, he's an old man, and when he's representing the water, she is a young woman. So I kind of want, my hatred for him is poison not only my land, blah, 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 blah. I have brought doom to them all but her most pious have lost their way and draw his ire. I tried to go back and forth. The players didn't know enough about Galarian lore to catch that in the actual speech, but when I explained it to them, they seemed like it was okay. They seemed interested in it. They seemed to like the idea that Gozreh has different aspects, uses different pronouns, and that was going on. So I did that a little bit, and basically I said, you skimmed the journal. I think he said he read it for 5 minutes. So he read a couple of the early ones, skimmed through it, noticed the handwriting got worse. So he read the last entry, and I have a couple in the middle that I can tell them later if they decide they want to read more of it. But long story short, this guy has gone full-on crazy, and he believes that not only is he cursed, but the people of this small village, this town, are cursed, that Gozreh will not protect them, and there's this big dark storm coming, which I am hinting at is the goblins and the rest of their party coming to invade. So I like that idea a lot. Again, I incorporated it. I didn't have enough time to bang out a bunch of journal entries, but I did do what I could to kind of get there, and I think that worked out pretty well. Squirrel made light of it. He said, oh, I think this guy was really sad, so it's okay that we killed him. I think that might have ended up as the moral that was going on. But yeah, so yeah, that went pretty well. I was really happy the way this went. Again, I was really hoping that the piss thing would hit somebody in the face. It didn't, but that's fine. They had a lot of fun. They squoze through the chimney, and I love those moments where someone's face lights up. Where they said, oh, is this narrow chimney? Is that accurate? And his face lit up when I said yes. He's like, oh, narrow, squeeze, me, yes, Puck, yes. And he was really excited to do that. And then he got to see the trap from the inside. It was unexpected. and I really did enjoy how that went. Yeah, thanks, Bijo. I hope I did a good job. I want them to. Again, not a lot of them know a lot about Galarian lore and the gods, and I'm hoping to at least give them some inklings about Gozreh, give them a good taste. Because again, Gozreh is the one they're gonna piss off. It's gonna matter a lot. So it's also interesting and useful, I guess, that none of the players are really playing a religious character. Puck is an oracle. I think he does have the skill. He's trained in it, but he's not that good at it. But he's not playing a very religious person. He's more of a spiritual. He follows the stars and hair, as it were. He has spiritual experiences, but not religious experiences. So I'm pretty happy that no one's super religious, so no one's going too deeply into that. And when we eventually do hit the situation where they're going to be invading a temple, I hope no one is offended by the idea of breaking the door down into a temple. So yeah, that was the Forest Cabin. That went well. Then we went for a little longer, and they came to a riverbank. So I actually had music for this, and I was embarrassed that I totally forgot to play it. So the whole time I was playing that Fallen Leaves music, and I picked this Fisher music out, and I forget where I got it from. Let me see. Yeah, so Limithron, I believe it's pronounced. They make really cool maps that most of them are like pirate and island and sea based. He made a bunch of ships and stuff like that. So I actually subscribed to his Patreon, and when you do, you get access to the entire back catalog, which is really sweet. There's dozens, if not 100 maps in there. And they also have some collaborations they do with artists and other artists, token artists, map artists, and also musicians. And this is one of them. This song, I forget what the title was right there, but oh man, I can't get a good Storm and Fire or something. I forget. Shards of the Storm. All music in the warmth of the fire. So basically, there was an album, or I guess a small collection of ambient music and songs that went with a series of maps, and I felt this one was really cool for the fisherman. So in this thing, this was entirely Bijo's creation. Bijo came on, he gave me this idea, and I really loved it. So as I said a little bit in the beginning, and we'll talk about it a bit more later, the next session is the town of Thaeth. They're going to come in and they're going to fight. We'll go over the fights later. We kind of touched on them last time. But they're going to come in and fight. And in my mind, they're goblins. They're just going to go and murder everybody. Bijo's like, you should give them another option. You should give them at least the idea that they don't have to murder everybody if they don't want to. Because there's a lot of fun to be had if they don't just genocide all the elves. If there are elves still living in town, if they presented themselves as not murderers, like conquerors, yes, but not murderers, then there's a lot of cool stuff you could do there. So they came to this river, and it was really funny. Squirrel, the scout, said like, okay, so I guess I'll find out where the bridge is across this river you're talking about. And I said, what bridge? There's no bridge. And he's like, you told me there was a path from the port to the town. Certainly there would be a bridge, like if they're going to be moving goods from the town to the port. And I was like, oh, then of course there's a bridge. Yeah, and I just had to I grabbed the bridge from the thing. This is Gabriel Picard map, and he has like a set of doodads, and one of them is the bridge. So wasn't a perfect piece of art. It was not a the most beautiful thing in the world, but I did throw down a bridge that they were able to walk across. And when they came here, they found this fisherman who was just sitting there fishing. And as they are wont to do, you find the journal entries. I can show you this fisherman, kind of just set the scene a little bit. As they are wont to do, they started walking across the map, and Squirrel hid behind here. The fisherman did not react at all, was just sitting there fishing, and Squirrel shot a crossbow bolt at him and missed. And he rolled fairly well too, and he just missed. So he was a little taken back by the fact that, he rolled as well as he did, and he didn't hit the guy, and the guy barely moved. He just kind of, looked and shrugged his shoulder. And then after that, he saw him at that point, because he didn't see him prior to that. And he didn't react. He didn't get up. He wasn't alerted. He didn't grab a weapon. He just continued fishing. And that freaked him out. That freaked all the goblins out, but especially Squirrel. And they walked across, and I described his hair as being, again, I said the picture really isn't realistic. Or accurate, I should say is the word. His face, instead of having regular white skin, he had I forgot what I said, like dark caramel skin, and his hair was like platinum white and very long. And I kind of described him a little bit like a Mwangi elf, or I forgot, Yakuja elf, I guess. So basically, I know Gozreh, when he takes human form, or I guess one of his forms, I forget which one it is described as being a Mwangi human, like an Afro cultured human in the Pathfinder world, the Galarian lore. So I tried to describe him a little bit more as being like a North African kind of looking elf, but with platinum white hair, because I don't know why. I all my elves in my mind all have light hair. I know that's not true, but in my mind, that's kind of where my brain goes to for elves. I described his hair in depth as being very long, very like abnormally white, and like radiant looking. And that drew the attention of Puck again, because Puck is an oracle, but he's also a barber. His background is barber. And he's been really playing up the fact that like hair is a religious experience to him. Like cutting hair, seeing hair, watching it fall, that's like he's playing his oracles, like reading tea leaves in the hair, basically. And he's roleplayed that really well to humorous effect, but also like serious. He in Discord he said, "I'm playing this ludicrous character extremely seriously," and he's made good on that promise. And yeah, so that's kind of how that went. And so he came across the bridge, and he was entranced. When I kept describing the hair, he kept, moving closer, and like saying, unless anyone stopped me, unless any other goblins are stopping me, I'm gonna keep walking forward. And when he got close enough, I threw another hook at him that he saw it like blow in the wind, and it fell supernaturally slowly, and that enticed him. And I also said that you were certain for a moment as it was falling, the hair turned green. And not just, white with a tinge of green in it, just like brilliant, verdant green. And again, this is another Gozreh throw, because basically Gozreh has like bright white hair or dark green hair. And again, I'm trying to just give this whole mystique about it. I was going to paint the elf as androgynous. I don't think I did that well enough. I didn't mention it enough to convey that. It didn't really matter. But long story short, Puck was super awesome. He was super into it, so he came over and started like basically touching this elf's hair, and he went to cut it, and I said like, oh, as you went to cut it, it's like it basically slides as you close the shears, it slides away. And I described it as, it wasn't like it's hard, it's not like it's made of iron or anything like that. It feels like the best silk in the world, but it's just magically, supernaturally not being cut. And that he played that as basically wonderment. He didn't get angry or frustrated, he was just bewildered and astounded. And as this was happening, everybody else basically comes across, and they've decided they're not going to murder this guy. And he is talking to them in Broken Goblin. And again, Bijo was on last week, we went over this for a while, but he basically said, you should talk in a weird way that makes it clear that he understands Goblin words, but not Goblin grammar, not Goblin syntax. And what he proposed, and what I ended up going with, was basically saying, like, say a noun, and then more words about it. So instead of saying, like, are you going to the town? You say, town, you go? And things like that. Like, not Yoda, something approaching Yoda, but not Yoda. And, yeah, so basically that's kind of what I did. And they kept trying to talk to him in Elven, because I think Squirrel speaks Elven, and he would always wave him off, like, I don't want to speak Elven, I'm meeting goblins for the first time, I'm going to speak Goblin. And they talked for a while, and it was very weird. Yeah. Yeah, they did. They got back and they started responding in kind. I think they enjoyed it. I think they definitely did. It was weird and it was interesting, and they had a good time. I didn't check how long we role played it. If you go to the YouTube, actually, I do add sections, so I guess I could check that. But yeah, they spent a good deal of time talking to him. And in the beginning, they weren't getting very far, and they were just confused. He kept asking them, like, why they were here, if they were with the others in the forest, were they at the port, were they responsible for what happened at the port? And they were wondering, how does he even know what happened at the port? Because they didn't, like, no one got away. There was these alarm bells, and these people were trying to escape, and they managed to stop everybody. So he never really revealed how he knew all that. He just said, the wind tells me, and, like, I've heard this. The wind whispers. But yeah, so they went back and forth for a while, and eventually he got to the point where he was stressing, like, he didn't want what happened at the port to happen at the town. And they kind of caught the idea then. So if he knows what happened at the town, then he knows what we're planning to do at the city, the town, and he doesn't want that. So he went in to explain that there are 3 heroes in the town, and if they best them, either by killing them or by just subduing them, and take their items, and show them to the mayor, basically say like, hey, we've beaten your champions, that the mayor is very likely to surrender. So, and he explained all the people, like there's a retired champion, like a retired fighter that has a shield, and he described the shield. There is a mage in town that has a spell book, a jeweled spell book, and there is a druid, a guardian of the oak, he called it, who has a gnarled staff. And if you take all of these things to the mayor, she will see that you have bested their champions and that she will surrender to you. And they took all this. I'm pretty sure they got the message. Again, it was weird. I didn't just hand it all to them. I just kind of, yes, they did. They did. They did come back and say that maybe we could capture the heroes. I didn't make it clear if he was like, you have to kill the heroes and take their stuff, or you just have to subdue the heroes and take their stuff. But at the end of the day, he basically said, you get their items and you give them to the mayor. You show the mayor that you are, I said, like, strong, yes, savage, no. You're not looking to destroy the town. Like, no burn, no need. Like, need, no. And yeah, I kind of struggled with it a little bit, but I think I did it more right than not as I was doing it. And I just stressed again to them, like, you don't need to kill all the elves. You don't need to burn the town down. You can do this. And we'll see what happens. We'll see where they go with it. So they basically assume this guy is a freak. He's crazy. He didn't cast a shadow was another weird thing, which made Squirrel kind of assume he was an illusion, but he wasn't. He was there. He was physically there. That when Puck tried to cut his hair, he did fail to cut it, but it wasn't that he went through it or anything. The hair was real. It felt real, but when he cut it, it moved away. So they're confused as to what's going on with him, and I like that, and I'm going to run with that. When they get to the next part of the story, like the next chapter, what do you want to call it? When they get to the actual Odyssey, I want this guy to come back. I want him to be like some weird entity. I haven't really decided what kind. The fish was real too. Yeah, he caught fish and even was eating them. Even started cooking them, and he was eating them. Everything there was real. But he was weird. His hair changed color. Several people saw it. After Puck saw it the first time, several people saw it. They saw that he did not cast a shadow, and that he was like immeasurably chill. Like, again, they shot a crossbow bolt at him and missed by 2 statistically. So like he didn't react. He didn't come at them, and he just wanted to talk and invited them to eat fish. So I haven't really decided what I want him to be. I think I wanted to be some sort of fae, some sort of a shapeshifter. I haven't really decided what's going to go on with that. But I'd like him to be a recurring character, and I think I'm going to have him go away for a while. I'm not sure if he's going to be in the town of Thaeth. I talked to Bijo about that a while. Maybe he'll be like an NPC in town, or be like spookily, creepily popping up behind them or something like that while they're in town, that the other NPCs aren't reacting to him and things like that, but he's just kind of a weird voice behind them from time to time. But I do want him to come back in the actual Odyssey adventure and just like be randomly showing up where they are, as if he's curious about them or interested in them or has some sort of vested interest in them, like he's like a guardian or has something banking on him. I did not name this person yet. He or she does not have a name yet. That is correct. I did not tell them any name. He is just the elven fisher. So they considered him a freak. They said, away from the freak we get, or the freak away we get, Jeff said, and they went on. So the session at this point had taken a while, and I was a little concerned that we might not even have time for the third encounter. The first fight with the Hermit took a while, and this roleplay went on a lot longer than I thought it would. And again, something I struggle with is estimating how much time roleplay is going to take. Fights, I kind of have a handle for. I've run enough of them, at least in Pathfinder 1E. I have enough experience to kind of gauge that, and it's not too different in 2E. I think things are a little faster in 2E. But role-playing can go completely sideways depending on where they want to go, and that's great. That's fun. That's awesome. But, spacing things out, planning things for our sessions, we only run 3-hour sessions because we're all, 35 plus, with a bunch of us having kids. So we play from 9 to midnight on Saturday nights, and any later, and we have cranky mornings the next day. So we try to keep things pretty tight. So this went pretty long, and I was like, okay, you cross this, it opens up into the rolling fields, and we'll do the homestead. And in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, they might not have enough time to do the homestead, so I might make it that some of them run away, or maybe I'll remove some things. I was thinking about that in my head. But as I was describing the homestead to Squirrel, who was the scout, Squirrel was basically like, yeah, you know what? I don't care. Like, okay, so we're by a field, and we just had this conversation with this guy who told us we don't have to kill everybody. And you're telling me I see a homestead, a couple of outbuildings, and people working the fields? I don't think I want to mess with farmers. And he looked to the other guys, and they all said, you know what? Yeah, we don't want to go murder a bunch of farmers for no reason. And they skipped it entirely. And I gave them like one chance. I mentioned it again just once to kind of hint that, hey, I prepared a farm's homestead encounter if you want to take it. But they were adamant. They were pretty sure that no, we're not going to mess with farmers. We have no real reason to do that. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Bijo. So my idea is that maybe this becomes worthwhile in the future. So it's not a huge amount of effort that I put into it. Again, I have this farmer NPC. This is from the NPC Codex, and I made a couple of them. Like this one, I think is weak, and this one is a regular size farmer. So it's like level 0. This one's level -1. So yeah, so I threw a couple of them out, and I kind of like them. I like their attacks. They have this pitchfork. They're not very good, and they have pitch bail. So if they hit you, they can kind of push you back and maybe knock you down. Fey farmers, maybe. So yeah, so I kind of like the idea of this, but again, this wasn't supposed to be a challenging encounter. This was basically supposed to be a test of their morality, which was basically when they came here and the farmer was going to shoo them off. I wanted the farmers to call them Fey. I did not have a chance to do this, and I feel like it's a missed opportunity. So, like, the elves don't know what goblins are. And, like, they don't have goblins on this continent. They came from a boat. They're not from here. And I was going to have them call them gremlins or, Jenkins or whatever, and call them Fey. Like, what are you mischievous Fey doing here? Get out of here. I was going to have the farmers be kind of the first people who did that. Like, just shooing them away. Like, you know the deal. Like, the Fey stay in the woods, or the Fey stay on their side. Go back to your realm. And they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? We're not Fey. And it doesn't matter. The elves are adamant about them being Fey. And then I was going to basically test the morality. Like, you're here, these farmers are here. This farmer is shooing you. He's not, like, aggressively, running you off, but he's got his pitchfork out, or he's got a torch, or whatever it is, and he's telling you to get the hell out of his land because, Mistress Fey don't belong here. And I figured they'd murder him. I figured they'd come in and murder them, but I wanted to see. I wanted them to put them to the test and see, like, so you were just told not to murder people, or, like, you don't have to murder people, and now there's a bunch of people. You want to murder them? And, rather than even come look and see if they wanted to murder them, they just decided before the fight even happened, we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. Yeah, I agree. So the Fey reveal with the mayor, I guess it would have a larger impact, but I wanted to plant the seed. I don't want it to be completely out of nowhere. Maybe it'll work, though. Like you said, maybe it'll just be like a big smack in the face, like the mayor thinks we're Fey. Or, like, again, like, if they have these rules, like, bring these things to the mayor, they'll surrender to you, and the mayor, as part of the surrender, calls them Fey, like, I think that, again, that might be a really big surprise. They might correct her immediately, and I don't know how I would do that. I'd have to figure that out. But I wanted to plant the seed here. I want them to, like, why the hell do these elves think we're the Fey? And I can't remember if I did that anywhere else. I don't think I did. I think this is one of the first places I'm going to do that. I don't think in the... I was trying to think if I did it on the docks, but I don't think I did. So in any event, they skipped this encounter entirely. I mean, the map's still there. Yeah, I don't think I did it. Thanks for pointing that out. I don't think I did. The map is still here, though, so if they ever wanted to come back to the farmland, or if I ever wanted to maybe add something else, I could say that, oh, these farmers were harboring gorillas that'll come in later. I could always reuse the map and most of the tokens. It's not a total loss, but they did skip it. So that's fine. So they ended up skipping that, and then, like, we had, I think, half an hour, 20 minutes left in the session, and I only had one more prepared encounter. I was running out of runway, so I was hoping, okay, hopefully they take the bait on this next one, and I didn't really allow them to take the bait. I kind of just made it happen. In Sparse Woods, I had everybody make a perception check, and I forgot what they rolled, but they all rolled decently well, and I just decided that, I'm an asshole. I'm gonna say whoever rolled the lowest does the bad thing, no matter how well they rolled. I think evens was low enough that it was justifiable. It's not like they all rolled 20 plus. So basically, I ruled that Even was walking, and when he got to around here, he put his foot squarely in a wasp's nest. And I had 2 wasp swarms on the map. I wasn't sure if I needed both of them, so I only started with one. I had originally designed this encounter because Fumbar the Alchemist was in the party, and if he was going to come back, I really liked the idea of giving him like a time to shine. This is something I think about a lot when I'm preparing sessions. I try to think, of all the players, how do I give everybody something to do that's like, yes, I'm really good at this, or something that's like, you know, my character can do this in a fun way or an interesting way. Like the chimney, I didn't think about. Like, I didn't plan, oh, there's a narrow chimney and Puck would love that. The hair was totally for him. Going into the session, I had notes about the elf's hair so that Puck would be super excited about that elf, and it worked really well. The chimney was a dumb piece of luck. There was a narrow looking chimney that he could squeeze into that Franco pointed out, and he was super stoked about that. But in here, I was thinking for the alchemist, I threw this together real quick. Like, again, it's just a simple wooden map. There was a wasp swarm over here, and that was it. It's not like this took barely any time to set up. And yeah, so I figured if the alchemist is here, he has bombs. This will be his time to shine. It'll be great. Alchemist didn't show up this week, and I needed something to kill 20 minutes, so I threw them at the guys. Just said, okay, fine. Even stepped in a wasp nest. And so I forgot how it was set up, but basically Squirrel always scouts ahead. So Squirrel was over here, and, you know, Franco is over here, Puck was over, I don't remember the exact setup, but, you know, and Even steps in at wasp nest. And they all come out over him, and the fight breaks out. Yeah, this is the perfect way to kill 20 minutes at the end of the night, exactly. So yeah, so this fight went well. It was hilarious though, because in the loot for the Hermit, he had a bottle of Alchemist Fire and a bottle of an acid flask, whatever it's called, in both the lesser versions. And I put them there again because the alchemist might have been in the party, but also like anybody can throw them. Like, you don't have to be an alchemist to throw Alchemist Fire. And I put them there basically for this, and because, you know, if you ever wanted to do anything else with it. But I put it there, and actually they used it, so I'm going to delete them. So they were in the party common loot because no one took them. I asked like twice, like, so who's taking the Alchemist Fire? Who's taking the Acid Flask? And everybody kind of just looked at each other and said, no, it's fine. I guess they saw that it was worth 3 gold, and in their mind they're like, well, we might want to cash that out later. We don't want to put it on somebody's sheet and have them have the money. Whatever happened, no one took it. And I asked twice. And after the second time, when nobody wanted it, I said explicitly, all right, it's going to go in the party common loot, and when you want it, it's not just in your pocket. Like, you know, it's not like Even has the fire on his pocket. And everybody agreed to that. I'm like, okay. And then when the fight happened, I basically, you know, they said, oh crap, I'm going to go to the common loot and get it. And I kind of ruled that it would take an entire turn to do that. So, like, because they didn't say, oh, it's in Even's backpack even. It's just in the party common loot. And it's a big, like, I don't know how they're dragging it around. We did kind of just hand wave the fact that they've got 7 leather armors in a bag somewhere that they're dragging around. So I kind of ruled that, you know, you could move and then it would take 2 actions. Basically take your entire turn to dig through this sack to find it. And both Franco and Even both did that. So they ran back and they got the items, while Puck, I think, used his Shooting Stars spell, which does, I think it's like 1d4 damage, and it halves again because it's an area spell. And Squirrel hit on the idea of lighting up a torch and kind of just swinging it. He didn't use oil. Bijo suggested I put oil in the Hermit's loot so you could kind of throw it on the ground and start a little bit of a fire. He didn't do that. No, I don't think anyone took the oil either. That was also in the common loot. But he did have a torch, so he kind of just lit a torch and started swinging it around. And I basically let him just use unarmed attack damage plus a little bit of fire. Doing that, and with all that going on with the bombs all worked. I don't think. Oh wait, they didn't actually use the acid one. That's right. He got it out, but he didn't use it. So let me add that back before I forget. A lesser acid flask. Yes, that was silly. They did use the fire, but they did not use the lesser acid flask. That is correct. Yeah. So Even through the fire flask, and then I think Franco had the acid, but by that time, Squirrel was swinging around with a torch. And they were dead enough that he didn't use the acid flask. It took a little bit. He got Even got stung, Puck got stung, and that was pretty much it. And that was the entire night of fight. So again, I think the cabin encounter went really well. The riverbank stuff went really well. I really liked playing this weird, sagely, creepy fisherman who didn't care that you shot him with a crossbow bolt. He's just offering you fish. talking in Broken Goblin. I like that a lot. I like the idea of using that voice over and over again, especially if the person doesn't look the same. If he's a shapeshifter, he, she, it is a shapeshifter, and you encounter nice. And they encounter him on an island somewhere, and he looks completely different, but he's talking in Goblin, he's talking in that same weird grammatical way. I think that would be really interesting and confusing and maybe scary. And I like that. So yeah, that went well. And this one, again, it was a fun little one-off. It was not hard. I could have thrown another thing of wasps, but it would have just made it last longer. Like, it wouldn't have made things more interesting or better. It would have just taken longer. And that was it. Yeah, agreed. You do the same way of talking and have like the white-green hair be present and then no shadow. That'll be enough to go, oh man, it's this guy again. Even he looks completely different. Oh, it's an ogre, but he's got green hair and no shadow. Yeah, I think I might have fun with that. I'm definitely gonna bring that guy back. So that all went really well. And there was a bunch of role-playing in between the party, in between scenes. Not a whole lot, but enough. I do like the way Squirrel and Puck are kind of getting into it. Like, Puck, again, he has these religious, sacred, spiritual experiences with hair, and Squirrel just finds it really weird that, like, he's trying to cut this elf's hair, that after he fought these other elves, he cuts the hair and puts it in, he, like, weaves it into, like, a braid he's got in his pocket. So they're getting into that, like, what is this hair about? Why do you do that? Evan's role-playing that he's, like, voraciously hungry all the time. Yes, and his single new hair. So I forgot to mention that during the encounter with the fisherman, the whole time he was trying to get the hair. He was asking, like, how do I get this? And someone suggested, like, I see you can't cut it. You just ask him to do it. I think Frank was like, why don't you just ask him for a piece of his hair? And he did. And the guy gave him a piece of his hair. And again, it was amazingly silky. It's just a single hair. But he pulled out the entire thing. It went down, like, to his butt. It's his big long hair. He's got it now. And he made him promise that he would try to do the thing he was asking. He would try to make it so they wouldn't just kill everybody in town, but they would try to do this. Yeah, and yeah, Puck is ready to follow the fisherman. Puck said, like, he is the hair. He is the true hair. Opilius is the false hair. Opilius is, like, the general that brought them on this boat trip. He's kind of leading this expedition to take this town. And the goblins were sent off on this mission. And again, no one can really tell if Opilius has an affinity for these goblins, believes they're capable of doing these things, or if he's just sending them on, like, the riskiest, suicidiest kind of missions. But that won't matter forever anyway. He's just kind of around for now. He's kind of he's a big part of the railroad of getting the story to the point where they need to piss off Gozreh. But yeah, so that went really well. That's the whole session that we had there. And yeah, so that was the fisherman music that was going on there. I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna go back on Fallen Leaves. This is my standard elf music. But yeah, so that was it. And now they came to the town of Thaeth. And we called it here for the night. So basically they're out in the woods and they are waiting for a signal. So I realized when they said that I didn't give them a signal. Like, Opilius didn't say, oh, wait for this horn, or wait for, you know, a flare or a pigeon or something. I've given them nothing. I've told them nothing. And it feels kind of heavy-handed to mention now, like, oh, yeah, by the way, when you were hanging out at the docks with Opilius before he sent you off, he said, wait for this horn. So, I don't want to do that. I will. So, yeah, Bijo was asking, will I let them have the spells at the beginning of this new session? So, yeah, it's weird to me that, like, if someone else came, like, if someone else joined, and, like, would they have their spells? I would probably say yes. So I think I'm just going to refresh everybody's spells again. Because it would be really hard if they didn't. Because I think, again, Puck used both of his level 1 spells. He used both of his heals. So he could get his Spray of Stars back. Yeah, they will need them. I completely agree. So, he's the only caster, though. Everybody else is, you know, marshals, ranger, barbarian, Franco. I don't think they have daily abilities at all. I think they're pretty much good, but it's just Puck, and the answer is yeah. I'd give Puck his level 1 spells back. And if anybody else comes who has spells, I'd let them have their spells too. Because, yeah, they're going to need them. We went over this last time. I don't want to dig too deep into this, because I think we balanced these pretty well. There's 3 fights. We'll get into them in a little bit. Just briefly. But yeah, so they got here. They talked for a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to cost them a hero point. I'll just give it to him. Especially again, it's only Puck. I don't want Puck to be like underpowered and everybody else is going full speed. I'm probably gonna give them time. I'll let them sit there. I'll give them like an hour or so they can make a heal check if they want, and I'll give Puck his spells back. Because going forward, like again, the way we're playing the thing where it's like a pickup game and we're playing every other week, and if you come, you come. And once we're in the Odyssey part of it, it's gonna be like you guys are on a boat. What do you guys want to do this week? Like, what are the 4 guys that showed up, the 5 guys that showed up? What do you want to do this week? And I want that to be like, oh, it's a new day. You get everything back. So it's kind of odd that like this is all the same afternoon. They raided a port and they've done all this, and they've gotten their spells back like 3 times already, and they're gonna get it back a 4th time. But it's fine. I just the way we are going to be playing is going to be like this. You're going to start every session with your spells back. We're not going to be cut in the middle of things like that. So it is what it is, and I'm just going to give Puck his spells back. Yeah, so they got back, and they're kind of resting in the forest, and they, I think Squirrel started scouting. I gave him a little bit of information that he sees like a couple dozen elves milling about. They kept hearing that the town is like under 200 people. Both the intel that Opilius gave them, however he got it, said that, and they interrogated an elf who said similar things. But the town itself doesn't even have that many people. Like that 200 account also accounts for all the farmers around it, and there's like only maybe like 150 people in the town itself. Maybe probably less, like 100. So they only see a couple dozen elves kind of milling about, going about their day. There's not that many buildings in town, and people are just, they're just walking around. They have no outward indication that anything is wrong. They don't suspect anything. They don't know that anything happened at the harbor, the docks. There aren't any walls. There were guard towers around, like further out in the forests, but the goblins took care of one, and presumably other teams took care of the other ones, or at least snuck by them. No one appears to be on alert. There aren't even any visible guard patrols. So I do have these guards here. They're called Copy. Let me fix that because I don't want them to be called Copy. But yeah, so there are a couple guards there that are going to be like part of the first fight. But yeah, so the goblins are going to come. They're going to rest. They're going to get all the spells back. They're going to get a heal. And like I said, I didn't give them a signal. I'm just going to have a signal happen, and they're going to have to assume that it's time to do it. I'm going to have like someone blow a horn, and they're going to hear or see some people kind of burst out of the trees down here or something like that. And I guess I should make tokens for that. I guess I should have, even if they're not actually engaging in combat, I should have like a dwarf token down here to represent like a group of dwarves, and somebody else up here to represent something, and something over there. And just kind of get into it. But the idea that I said before is the goblins are going to come from up here. They're going to hear the horn, hear that battle is beginning. Someone's going to shout. So there's going to be some fighting. And they're going to come down. And there are guards like in this guardhouse who are basically going to be... Yeah, there could be just they're over there. They're resting. They see this unwalled, mostly unguarded town. And they're just going to go at it. Yeah, so the idea is that they come out of the woods over here, and they either see these guards who are, alerted by the sound of the horn. They come stumbling out, unsure what's going on, not that ready, and they attack. And I'm thinking now that I don't actually have any, I don't have, like, a battle song for the town specifically, which is kind of... I do have this town music, apparently. I think my stream cut out there for a second, but hey. Alright, it's back now. I don't have any battle music. I have this peaceful Town of Thaeth music, but I don't have any fight music, so I gotta come up with something for that. Yeah, I'll leave this on for now. I should look for more fight songs. Anyway, so they're going to come into town, and they're going to be these 2 town guards, and if you were watching previous sessions, these are the same guards that I was using in the Watchtower, level 1 NPCs. So this is, I think, I don't know the exact classification of it, but it's not a severe encounter. It's not a scary one. So they're going to be there. They use, they have short bows, if the party's gonna like basically burst out of the woods and probably catch them by surprise, so they're gonna be a little out of sorts. And they don't have that many hit points. They will go down pretty fast if they're lucky. And then I have behind them this retired warrior, which is one of the champions. So this is a level 2 NPC, and she has shield block, which is something I'm very interested in using. I haven't actually, again, I'm so new to 2E that I have not got to use shields. So I'm really excited to give her this, the shield block. She's got a steel shield. It's gonna eat a bunch of damage, and I gotta put that on loop if I'm gonna be using it. So yeah, I was gonna give them. Could the druid maybe see the guards and join late? I was thinking, yeah. So we got to figure out how we're gonna chain these, because I do want them to be chained or involved. I do want them to come down to the tree. I guess we could see if it works at range. But I do want them to come down to the tree and fight because of the leafling leshies we were talking about. But maybe. I do want them to be like... I don't want there to be a lot of rest in between these fights. I want it to be intense. And, like, this is you're taking a city. This is a huge battle that's happening all at once. So they rush the guards. They get maybe a turn or two before this retired warrior comes out of the other building. Decked out in armor with her shield. And she's got, a bunch of hit points now. And she can have her shield out. Yeah, back to back to back. I completely agree. That's how I want this to go down. I want this to just be chaos. It's a huge battle, and everything is calling their attention immediately after the next fight. There's like no break. Or if there is a break, it's a very short, like round-based break. Not like you're not sitting for 10 minutes or anything like that. So yeah, so they engage these town guards. This retired warrior comes out. She's got the shield. She's got a spear and a longbow if she needs it. So her gimmick is she's gonna run up to the town guards and try to protect them a little bit. And kind of, boom, 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 fighting, I got a shield, let's do this. And I'm really excited for the shield mechanic and for her to survive for a while, basically. To be, she's a retired warrior, she's not super strong. I forgot what I made her. I forgot what NPC, she's from the Codex too, I forget what I took. But I did this live, and if you look back to that thing, it seems like she's got some kind of illusory disguise, so she must be some sort of like drow or something that I took and stole and changed. I forget. Maybe I don't remember. I don't remember what I stole, but somewhere in the NPC codex. And again, Foundry has the entire codex built into the tool, which is fantastic when you download the 2E system. So I just took one and kind of reskinned it as an elf. But yeah, so she's gonna be here, and she's gonna have the shield, and she's gonna survive a while. It's gonna be like, she's a champion. She may be retired, and she's not like in her prime, but she is a champion. And she's got this green shield. I said the crowned shield. She's got a shield with a crown on it, right? Boom, boom, boom. So if they kill her and take her shield, that's one of the items they need. So while this fight is happening, or when it's about to end, or maybe as it ended, I don't know. I want them to hear shouting down here. And essentially, whatever NPC I put there is a dwarf or a gnome or something. Something's down here was fighting, and they're having trouble. There is a druid down here. This guardian of the oak is an elf druid who is kind of plant-based. He's going to be using shillelagh, and a bunch of like Tanglefoot type spells and fear. So he's going to be scaring a bunch of people, and he's going to be entangling other people. And I want it to be that whoever was down here, maybe I'll put an NPC that they know, is freaking out, and the druid is getting the better of them. So while this is wrapping up and they're getting ready to look what's next, something immediately calls their attention, and I'm hoping they choose to go rescue them. They don't have to, obviously, but if they do, hopefully they come down and they find this guardian of the oak, and these 3 leaflings are hiding in the tree, and they're going to come down and kind of just start flanking. They're going to glide down, flank, and we went over all this in the last prep session, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Yeah, so they're going to glide down, they're going to fight, and they got this Guardian of the Oak doing entangly things and shillelagh things, and the leaflings fighting, boom, 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 they explode, they heal each other, and that finishes. And again, while this is wrapping up, the people are going to notice. I'm going to have them make a nature check, and I'm hoping Squirrel succeeds. It's not guaranteed, but if he rolls decent enough to not critically fail, or whatever I deem at the time to be good, he's going to notice that this is an oak tree, but oddly it has these big, juicy-looking berries on it, and the berries are, in fact, good berries, so it'll be an easy way to heal up between fights without having to take 10 minutes to use a medicine check, a treat wounds check, or I won't force Puck to burn one of his healing. He only has 2 heals a day. So basically, I would say, like, you can spend a turn there. You can spend your 3 actions. Kind of grip. Yeah, that's a good idea. See, if the druid eats one of the berries during a fight and see one of his wounds heal or see him, like, act more alive, that might trigger them to even be. That's a very good way to do it. I'm going to take a note of that. That is smart. Yeah, if the druid eats a berry, and then they make an nature check, they see the berries on the tree, they know what's going on there. Yeah. Doom Solo, yeah, your players wouldn't even look twice at the tree. Well, again, I think Bijo's idea, Silent Ranger's idea, is really good. Having the druid eat a berry and say, yeah, this tree is just covered in berries. There's this strange white oak. You haven't seen any oaks like this anywhere in the village. They built like a little shrine around it, and it's got these big juicy berries on it that the druid popped one in his mouth during a fight. He took an action to eat a berry or a handful of berries, or I don't know what the rules for good berries are. I should really look that up. I don't know if you can eat them like a fistful at a time in 2E. But I think I'm going to let the players do that. So during the fight, or after the fight, when they notice that this is going on, when the next fight is chaining into them again, there's going to be a mage coming in. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to draw their attention. Hey, there are these berries here. They look really good. And if you spend a turn, you can grab a fistful of them, and I'll have them roll randomly to how many they grab and how many they eat. I should really look that up, though. I should really let me pull up Archives of Nethys. Look up Goodberry before I start tucking out my butt. But yeah, let them grab a handful of them. Let them grab however many makes sense. Goodberry. Boom. What do we got over here? A creature can eat the Goodberry with the interact action to gain 1d6 plus 4 hit points. Okay, so you don't need to eat a handful. You just eat one, and you get 1d6 plus 4. Every 6 Goodberry consumed gives as much nourishment as 1 square meal for a typical human. So it seems like it's 1 action to eat it. It doesn't say anything about not eating multiple Goodberries. So I think I guess I could, if they really needed it, I could say you could pick 2 with an action and then cram in your mouth. Basically, I want them to waste a turn, and I can figure out how many good berries I want to give them. But yeah, so the gimmick is I get even 1d6 plus 4 is enough to probably heal them of most things. We'll see how the fight goes, I guess. But yeah, so again, I do want to chain them, Doom Solo. I do want to chain them. I want them to be dragged through this, and I'll throw them whatever lifeboat I think they need at this tree. But while that's happening, again, so like they're over here, they're killing this. Maybe the druid screams loudly when he's losing, or something again draws the attention of this elven mage over here, and she is, I think, like a low-level pyromancer. She's level 3, so this I think is a severe encounter. I don't know. Again, I'm not good at the actual. Yeah, that's true. If the good berries aren't ripe, they could get like yeah. Giant man-sized healing drum. It has like a little red cross on it. It's like hit drum for heal. They'd still only like half a chance to get it. Yeah. So this mage again here is level 3, and I'm terrible at memorizing this table, this lovely table that they have in Pathfinder 2 for like the encounter design. So I have this GM note over here. And once again, if you do have a better way of organizing GM notes, let me know. But I have this thing here that I look at, and so she is a party level +2, so she's 80, which is, I guess, moderate. So she's not severe even, so that's... Okay, so I think what I had going on, I'm trying to remember all the balance I did here. This druid is a 2, but he has 3 Leshy buddies. So I think that is moderate to severe, and she's moderate. And this first one, I think, is low to moderate. So again, I'm not throwing another severe fight at them. I don't want to mop the floor with them. I'm not looking to do that. But I do want it to be hard. You're running Age of Edgewatch. Yeah. I haven't looked at the Agents of Edgewatch. That seems really interesting. That's the one where you're the town guards, right? Are they still in like the beginning of it? I don't know if it gets away from being town guards if you go and leave. Are they still in the town guard part of it? They're GMs. They don't look for hints. As guards and investigators. That's a little. Okay, session 6. So yeah, so you're still at the beginning. Yeah, so you're supposed to be guards. You're supposed to be... I don't know, like, can't you call on your other guards? Or is there, like, I don't know the adventure. Is it, like, are the guards partially corrupt? Are you afraid to do that? Why do they, if there's so much chaining going on, can they ask for help? Or are there... What are they missing out on? I guess don't spoil the adventure, I guess. I'm just curious what they're missing and what else is going on. Before I jump into the mage, I also want to go back. So, Bijo, you were asking about mods last time, and I got a new one. This one is called Monk's Token Bar, I believe. And it has all of the PC tokens that are on the map, and it shows you what their passive perception and their AC is. And if you click on them, it jumps to them. And I like that a lot. That one's really cool. I still do have the hover thing, so basically I can hold Alt, or I can hover over a token and see what some of those values are, and actually get more of them that way. But also Monk's Token Bar does this cool thing where I can click this request roll, and I can say, okay, everybody give me a public perception roll, and I mash this button, and then instead of having to go to their tokens and find the things, they can just mash this button, and it pulls it all in. And I can mash it for them too if I'm so lazy I don't want to wait for my players to do it. So you can do that, and it's really cool. So it lets them roll it, and it also gives this group DC. It just shows, I'm not sure if this is part of a 5e thing or if it's just for convenience, but it shows an average of all the rolls if that mattered, like if I cared, which is kind of neat. I think I might use this in the skill check chase that I had going on. So you can do that, and you can also set a DC there. So if I request it and I say, you know what, this is a DC 18 perception check, and they roll it, it'll auto turn check marks on if they make it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is really awesome. I like it. There's also, you can do like a competing check, like if you want to have, you have to actually click them to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But if you go to like Squirrel versus the Town Guard, and I click on this contested roll, I can say make a contested perception versus stealth, and you go boom boom, and it shows you who wins the contested check. So the Town Guard was more stealthy than Squirrel was perceptive. So I really like that. I'm having a good time with that mod. Monk's Token mod or something like that. Monk's Token Bar, I think. And there's a couple other ones that Monk has. They were recommended on someone on the Foundry subreddit, I think, was talking about them, and there were some really cool ones. There's one that makes more of these action bars pop up, be visible. That was pretty cool. And there's one that deals with scene navigation that I haven't tried out yet, but this one was really cool. I like how you can jump around to things. It's pretty sweet. And and another cool thing about this, and if you watch the last session you'll see it, is that you can set it up to when you enter fights, it enforces no movement unless it's your turn. So I have had players that, I don't believe nefariously, but maybe just accidentally, they were trying to use the ruler and they picked the move tool. They would like move during combat and then they might not move exactly back. So again, I was a little not happy with that. So now it kind of enforces it that you are in combat when encounters are happening. It locks movement to whoever happens to have initiative, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah. Town of Thaeth, boom, told you those two fights. Give them a handful of good berries, whatever they need to get by. And then while this is going on, they're maybe catching a breath. They're talking to the NPCs that are there. I haven't decided. Again, I might make it a gnome or a dwarf. There's a couple of NPCs that the party's interacted with that I can go over a bit later. But I also want them to come up with new NPCs. I want them to, not come up with, I want them to come up to speed with new NPCs. I want to make more NPCs matter. I want them to know who they are, have names and faces assigned to them, because I want to start killing the NPCs. In the next couple of sessions where like the guerrillas are coming and they're killing people in the town who are occupying the town, I want them to not just be killing, oh, they killed one of the elves, or one of the dwarves with you, or they killed one of the half-orcs. I want them to have faces and names and stuff like that. So maybe when they come here, they'll rescue a dwarf who is entangled there for a while. Catching up on chat. They should not get help from their presaint. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What do I think the time for the 3 fights will take? I don't know. I do not think it'll take the whole session. Because of the way I'm chaining them and I'm not giving them breathers, I don't think, like, a lot of time gets, I don't want to say wasted, a lot of time gets spent planning for a fight Like, okay, we're coming up. Where's everybody standing? What's everybody doing? How are you acting? Like, who's using stealth? Blah, blah, blah. And then after a fight, it's, oh, now we're looting, we're talking, and it's really fun to have, like, the post-combat RP is some of the best stuff we've had in the game so far. But I think the way that I'm chaining things, there's not going to be time for that, and I think that's going to keep things a bit trimmer. So I'm hoping it's going to be, like, 2 hours for all of it. And I don't know if that's good of an estimate or not. Because, again, they're going to come here. I think this one's going to go pretty fast. I think they're going to catch the guards by surprise, and I think Squirrel's going to knock them with a crossbow bolts, and I think they're going to rush in, and they'll probably kill one of them right off the bat. But again, bad rolls can make anything take twice as long. I think maybe failing as a GM, gave them hints, make them roll like, yeah. You plain out tell them there is stuff that you left back there. That's always hard to do. Like, if you can't, like, yeah, you missed something. Like, you can't really tell them that. It's, I mean, I guess you can just say it. Sometimes after a dungeon crawl, like when they're out of the dungeon and back in town, I'll say, yeah, you know all this treasure you forgot or you missed? Like, remember that thing you couldn't figure out? Or remember that time you all rolled a 7 on your perception check? And, like, yeah, there was a sweet axe in there that you never got. But yeah, it's really hard if it's like an investigative kind of adventure and they're either not rolling well enough to find things or if they're just not looking in the right places. It's hard to kind of drag their nose to the thing they have to look at. I guess you could have NPCs help them, but you don't want to be playing a GM PC. You don't want to have, like, some annoying character saying, like, oh, look in that book over there. Because then it's just, like, you know, it's heavy-handed. I don't know enough about the AP to kind of comment on it, but it seems tough. Yeah. So yeah, I'm chaining these together. Boom, boom, boom. Fight, fight, fight. And then while they're over here, they're catching their breath, maybe shoving a good berry or two in their face, and talking to whatever NPC is down there. Do I have any other ideas besides the fight and the main encounter? So no, not really. So yeah, so we're gonna do this fight, and the mage is here, and like I said, he's real quick. We'll just go over it. She's kind of like a pyromancer. She got magic missile. She's got that flaming sphere, heat metal. So she's gonna be over here, and she's gonna like basically open up the fight, make herself known to the PCs. Like, they're healing up, they're talking to this NPC that they just rescued, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a flaming sphere, and it's rolling towards them, and then she's gonna be casting magic missile from over there, which makes it so they have to run up and go all the way this way, or try to cross this river and climb, or cross the river and come up those stairs. So, you know, basically kind of harass them from far away, make them run up, give her a couple turns to hit them before they're on her. And again, Squirrel with his bow, he can just be knocking her out. And Puck now has a sling that he got from the Hermit. They managed to fix it, so maybe he could do some of that. And but they don't have any ranged spells, so at least the people that are coming today, or agreed to have come today, it's the same group: Puck, Squirrel, Franco, and even have all RSVP'd yes for this session. There is another spot if someone wants to come, but no one else has come yet. So yeah, so this mage will probably get a couple hits off, and she's got 30 hit points, decent armor class, so it'll take a while. Again, a crit could solve everything. You never know with this group, but yeah, so I'm hoping she gets a couple rounds in. And if they manage to do all that, and they go up and they get her spell book, and they get this guy's gnarled staff, and if they get this lady's shield, they have all the items to go to the mayor and show that, hey, we're the champions. We've defeated your champions, we're going to surrender. So I don't have anything else planned, Bijo asked, so I don't know. I figure once they do those 3 fights, and I'm hoping that takes 2 hours and not all 3, then I figure they'll go in and they'll start to talk to the mayor. And I should probably plan a bit about what the mayor should say, other than the fact that she is, I've written her as being like standoffish, and she doesn't think much, as most elves in this campaign do, at least is how I've described it. They don't think much of other people, of other races, ancestries, whatever you want to call them. So I want to have that basically, again, they think the goblins are fae, and that is one of the few things they respect in the world. The elves have some sort of relationship with fae, which is not described either by me as a GM or me as a designer. I didn't really care enough to outline exactly what that relationship is, but they have interacted in the past, and they understand that they are both powerful, useful entities in the world. Yeah, it could take all 3 hours. You're right. And maybe I should have a fill-in encounter. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should have some. I don't want to just throw more guards at them. Maybe I could have I could have some other smaller encounter, like a level 1. I don't want to do another Beastmaster. I already threw a hunter at them. I already and a wolf guy. The rabbit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something else. Maybe something. Yeah, yeah. If they blow through these, you're right. If they go through all 3, it might make sense to have something else. I don't know where I'd put it though. Maybe someone wanders out of here, like a tradesman or something like that. Like you can tell that he's got a longbow, but he doesn't know how to do it. He mostly makes bows, doesn't really shoot them, and just do like a speed bump kind of encounter. That's not a bad idea. We could do that. I could make a town guard. I could make it weak, and then yeah. So watch. I'll take the town guard here. I'll copy it over here, and they always had copy, which I don't like. And let's just call this guy Bowyer, and then I'll change his token to be something else. As I said before, Devon Knight is my token guy. He's the one I usually go to when I want to do tokens. I've started. Jan Lu is someone I've started doing. I got on their Patreon and started doing that, but I have a lot of Devon Knight tokens. So I'm looking for a craftsman kind of guy. Like I don't want to have like a rangery guy with a bow. This guy looks kind of tattered. They're like visibly warriors. I don't really want a visible warrior. I'm not sure I'm gonna find one under elf. I might have to look for craftsman or Mage Perry. I wonder what that's about. Seems like a story behind that. Like I'm not looking for a monk, no. Nothing's jumping out at me. Yeah, a runner would be a good idea. Someone running that kind of makes them chase. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, everything here looks too warrior, too adventure-y. I want someone that doesn't... I could use one of these boys. We had one of them in the farm that didn't get played. Elf merchant got spears and a scar or a tattoo on his face. What did that merchant have? Spears? Yeah, I don't like that. I like the idea of a runner trying to get reinforcements. That like someone sees the mage go down and they run. But again, like the town isn't big enough. That's also kind of a problem. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. So I've scrolled through the entire list. I'm just gonna close it for right now. I'll think about this. But yeah, so basically, if they're here, and then they're here. If someone at this point is running, like they're running to the center of town, and that's not even that big. I could scale the town even further, but as I said in the last session, I think this is big enough. Like I don't want it to be double as wide. I mean, maybe I do, but I feel like it's gonna get crazy small. Like the tokens are gonna get crazy small on the map. Are you saying the runner should be after the mayor or before the mayor? To fill an encounter before or after the mayor? Like you're trying to kill time before we enter social talk? Or are you thinking it's a fill-in if they finish talking? If they finish talking early, if that's not a problem. I could always call the session early. I don't have to make it go the full 3 hours. If they slaughter all these encounters and then we have a talk with the mayor and the mayor surrenders to them, there's still some talking they could do with the mayor. And also, eventually, once Opilius and the rest of the troops come in, assuming the mayor does something to order a surrender, they blow a whistle or they do something to order a surrender, and they do, then the rest of the troops are going to come in. Either they're going to slaughter their surrendering elves, or they're going to keep going. So you're saying after the mayor surrenders, someone's running away, and they have to decide if they want to murder that thing? That could be interesting. That could be very interesting. So yeah, so if I go back to tokens and instead I look for like a scribe, I bet you there's somebody with a book. It's a human. I'll take it. So yeah, so I could add like a scribe, and I could rename it to scribe because you don't want to be a bowyer anymore. Someone just tries to leave with papers, and they could kill him. And again, but now that kind of draws attention to him, and they're going to either kill him or capture him and try to figure out what he's going to do. I'm reading up now about the Agents of Ed Watch chat. Yeah, I hate how casters kind of run out of spells. Like I think I said earlier, I'm not sure if you were here for that, but I'm gonna give Puck back his spells. This whole campaign that I've had so far, it's been 3 sessions. This will be the 4th session. Like I've given spells back every session because of the way that we're kind of playing it. And I don't know how they would have survived if I hadn't. if Puck wasn't getting his spells back. He's the only healer. We don't have a cleric. So they don't have that like font of 6 heals a day or whatever the heck it is. He gets 2 level 1 spells a day, and he's using both of them on heal at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna give him back his spells. Yeah, I don't know how they have the focus spells and stuff, so I don't know, but the mayor wants his records destroyed. That's a good point. I also need a token for the mayor, so I gotta make a list of things to do here. I should probably find art for the mayor too. Like maybe like a portrait I could show. In that vein, I have found some other portraits. Oh, I guess I haven't added them in the tool yet, but I've started getting portraits for NPCs, just kind of googling around for art. I don't have any right now. I just have Opilius, which is that one. But I should get some more going for other stuff. Yeah, casters at low levels, that's it. Like they're done, and it's frustrating because marshals can keep going as long as you can keep healing them. If you have enough heals, either from medicine or if you have enough heals from like if they're just getting potions dropped on them and stuff like that, casters just run out of gas. And then I guess the cantrips are better now in 2 than they were in previous editions. You can actually cast cantrips and do a decent amount. I know like was it telekinetic throw? I think it's a 1d. Is that a 1d10? Is that a 1d8? I don't remember telekinetic throw, but it's a high dice, and I think you add your bonus to it. I don't remember. No one in this group has it. But I played in a game, and someone played a sorcerer that had telekinetic throw, and oh, it's telekinetic projectile. I think is what it's called. Apologies. Yes, telekinetic projectile is the spell. Yeah, that's right. It is. Oh, it's 1d6. Apologies. It's 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability. So if you're like a min-max caster with a +4 to your spell thing, which you hopefully should be if you're casting the spell, you'll be doing a 1d6 +4, so 5 to 10 damage, which is not nothing. That's like shooting a crossbow bolt. I mean, it's pretty good. But yeah, you run out of your level 1 spells, which is all your fun bells and whistle spells. But again, you have a spell like that, or like some of the other ones. I don't remember what other cantrips there are, but there are damage cantrips that let you at least participate in a somewhat meaningful way. But again, it does suck that you run out of first level spells and you feel like you're underpowered for the rest of the session while the fighter is still fighting and the barbarian is still raging and all this stuff is happening. The ranger is still declaring targets and whatnot, blah blah blah. So yeah, so I need to add some tokens here for the mayor and a bunch of NPCs. And I think, like I said, they're going to have some RP with the mayor, and she's going to surrender them and call them Fae, and I don't know how that's going to play out. If they correct her, I don't know what's going to happen. What if they go out of their way to say, no, we're not Fae, we're goblins? And she's going to say, oh, I've never heard of goblin. What kind of Fae is that? Are you like gremlins? Or... And they're gonna, if they correct them multiple times, I don't know what I'm going to do about that, because the way we were talking about it with Bijo and the last thing was, like, the elves don't want to surrender. Like, they would not surrender to humans. They would not surrender to dwarves. They would see that as insulting and beneath them. And the idea was they would surrender to the goblins. They would surrender to them as Fae, as like, okay, we've interacted with these before. And we know that they are powerful creatures. We understand. Why are you here? What are you doing? We surrender. And I kind of want to impress that upon them But now that we kind of we blew the homestead was skipped, and I didn't have a chance to kind of plant that seed, so I figure it might be too shocking. Bijo said it might be impactful that the mayor calls them Fae and surrenders them as Fae, and maybe the party picks up on that. I don't know how else to kind of finesse that into their mind, that they think you're Fae and that's why they're surrendering. Maybe I say in the mayor's surrender, she mentioned something about, like, as per our agreement or the ancient agreements between our people, we surrender to the Fae. What is your will? And then I hammer on the fact, or yeah, the fisherman can come back, but maybe I just hammer on the fact that, hey, they're surrendering to you because you are Fae, because they believe you to be Fae, that there is some sort of an agreement, there is some sort of arrangement between the elves and the Fae that they are willing to surrender to you. And then maybe the fisherman is there. I don't want him to be talking or negotiating for the party, but maybe the party sees him. I don't. Again, that seems heavy-handed. Just telling them to be Fae, like he whispers, "Hey, you should be Fae." But maybe she says that, and then they catch out of the corner of their eye, they see him leaning up against a pillar or something nearby, and he just nods and then is gone. Like, one of them catches the eye before they have a chance to say, "We're not Fae. We're got like they see him again. They see his hair. One of the elves' hair is white. You see it turn green, and it's certainly him. Yeah." He nods, and maybe they hear the word Fae on the wind or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. We can go with that. So I think that would be enough. If I finesse the speech, and I'll do some writing this week, I'll finesse a little bit of the mayor's words and kind of just read his lips. You're Fae. Shut up. You're Fae. Yeah, finesse the mayor's words such that the party gets the impression that they are Fae, they are being surrendered to as Fae, and there's some sort of relationship there. It matters that they're Fae. And this guy will be in the background nodding like, this is how this works, shut up. Alright, that's good. And I think, so again, if the fights take 2 hours, which is my rough estimate, and again, it could go much faster, or it could go much slower. But if it goes fast enough, then we have this discussion, and I think that'll take a while. Again, I'm really bad at estimating how long that'll take. I have no idea what the players will ask or what they'll say to each other or to the elves. I also don't know if the players will just go mad and start hacking away at elves and just brutalizing the entire town in spite of the fishermen. But if there's even more time, we could have something like you're saying, Bijo, where maybe someone's running away with some documents out of the town hall or something like that. Or I could just have Opilius show up and, all the elves have surrendered, so people are moving through. And maybe some of the people, as we discussed, are kind of monstrous. Like we said that we wanted some of them to be carrying gruesome trophies. Like some of them have a necklace of elf ears. I think we even came up with a halfling that has, I forgot who mentioned it in the stream last time, but has like just a bag full of eyeballs. It's just eating elf eyeballs. It was heinous. Some heinous stuff was talked about, but I like the idea of some of the people that are not with the party, but, in the troop with the party, of being heinously gruesome, and they will be visited by gorillas later, and it's horrible. But yeah, so maybe even after the elves surrender, maybe some of those horrible people actually, continue killing elves along the way until they get to the town proper, where the goblins have apparently bested the champions. Like they signal the attack, and somehow the goblins are like the first ones on the scene. Again, maybe they're using you as fodder to draw out all the people. Maybe that, this horn happens and you hear some fighting start, but most of the people hung back in the woods or were engaged in the woods or something like that. And the goblins are first on the scene, and they manage to get surrendered to. And then Opilius and the rest of the troops kind of make their way to the town, and they find that the elves have surrendered, and that the mayor has surrendered to the goblins. And that's a whole thing. And then they have a conversation with Opilius about what the hell just happened. Why do they keep... And, Oren is there. Oren is the elf expert, I put in quotes, because Oren doesn't know a damn thing about elves. He's basically a charlatan, and he's gotten everything wrong about elves from the beginning. But he does speak a bit of Elvish, not very well. And maybe he's there and he can understand, like, they're calling them Fae, they're calling the goblins Fae, they've surrendered to the goblins as Fae. And Opilius will kind of assess that situation and ask the goblins what they're about, what's going on here. And it's kind of like I think he'll be okay with that. I think I can in my head wrap around that this guy, this general, is okay with them having surrendered to the goblins, as and not like basically demanding that the goblins cede the town to him. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we could take it could take longer for everybody else to get there because they actually attacked the farmsteads. They were doing more slaughtering along the way. But so, I mean, again, I want to have some sort of a signal to kind of start the attack because I think that the goblins are just going to wait in the forest until something happens. If I just say, "Oh, you wait an hour, nothing happens," I think they'd wait another hour. I don't think they would make an attack by themselves. So maybe yeah, maybe I blow the horn though. Like I said, maybe some people are there and Opilius assumes that people are around. Or maybe I say that they see some of those pigeons flying around and Squirrel is certain that's maybe it's Tana's who does the pigeon messaging. And maybe I'd do that. I'd say that he sees a pigeon taking off and he's all but certain that it's one of Tana's and maybe he can send a pigeon. If he releases it, he believes it'll go back. A boom sound in the distance. But yeah, basically get something going on. I think I'll go with the pigeon first. I think I'll basically have Squirrel make a perception check, and I hope he rolls well. And he'll see a pigeon fly out from one of the bushes or whatever, the trees, and fly like directly to a path. And yeah, they could be. Well, flames and smoke would also alert the elves. So one of the things I've stressed that the elves are acting normally. They have no idea what's going on. But I guess if there was fire, that would kind of alert them, and it would make it more pressing to push the town now before the guards got up. I guess if there was burning behind and then there was a horn, that would kind of be a way of speeding things up. So if the players are just going to wait, we could say that, okay, you see a burning field or something, there's a smoke coming out of the thing over there, and then Opilius, not wanting to wait for the elves to get, their guard up, is going to just blow the horn and attack with whatever they've got, which happens to be the goblins and a small number of others. That makes more sense. I like that. Okay, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that, and I can take some notes. Yeah. Yep. Yep, there's lots of stuff that can happen. There's lots of ways to make noise. But yeah, the general idea there is that the attack starts. Maybe it's too early. Maybe it's unprepared. Like I said, maybe there's only a couple of small groups. But the goblins are one of them, and they're one of the ones getting into it. So yeah, I like that. That's good. And they do all this. They have these 3 fights. I think it takes 2 hours, more or less. They have some RP with the mayor, which I will write up during the week, where the mayor explicitly surrenders them as Fae, and then Opilius shows up if there's still time, asks them what's going on, and kind of accepts it. And if that somehow doesn't take 3 hours, that's fine. I'll call the session early, or I'll let the players RP a little bit some more. I do have the town I've started. Let me see if I have a thing here. Town of Thaeth. I did start like a bunch of this is kind of just the rough encounters and some general notes of the town, and then I was going through, just got some elf names listed there, and major NPCs. I have this Beastmaster, and I've already thrown a wolf and like a hound hunter, so I feel like I don't really want to have another Beastmaster, but I thought it might make sense to have down here, like there's like it's kind of like a stable, so I thought someone would maintain horses and other things like that. Maybe they have like a rookery for, ravens or whatever. But I also want to have like a smithy and an alchemist and a carpenter. So I want to have I want it to be like a small town, not like a thriving town. What editor? Text editor? This is what's it called? Evernote. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. It syncs on devices for free. You can sync it on 2 devices. So I have it on my laptop and my desktop. You got to pay if you want more than 2. So I don't have it on my phone, which is kind of crappy because sometimes I have an idea and I kind of like email it to myself. So when I get on the computer, I can go ahead and edit it for real. But yeah, this is Evernote. It's pretty good. I like it. I'll bring this over too. So this is like the main window, so you can have like different notebooks. I have a bunch of crap going on in there. But yeah, so like I have my Odyssey Jam group and it has a bunch of notes. I try to separate them into I got like a bunch of map ideas with links to maps on either on Reddit or Patreon accounts. rough ideas for the early islands when I go into the Odyssey type thing. Stuff I'm just very vague stuff I have planned. And then I make each session basically its own thing. I talk about, what we're going to do in the recap. This is just notes to myself about how exploration mode works. Get them to declare marching order. This is what I talked about before. I want the elves to call them gremlins, Jenkins, Mitflits, whatever, mites. Basically, I want to be calling them Fae, but I messed that up. This is the time to shine. I didn't fill it in last session, which is kind of crappy, but I talked about this early in the stream. I was going into what every player can do special in a session. I try to look into that. But yeah, so I have some just notes for all kinds of different things, and I try to split them up a little bit. But yeah, this is Evernote. So yeah, I have some notable NPCs, and I labeled all the locations, so they're all set. I think everything is labeled, but I didn't really flesh out all the NPCs yet. I should spend some more time doing that this week, because I figured they're going to ask, oh, what is this about? This is a shrine to Serenre. And that's important because the Hermit noted that the people have lost their way, that Gozreh is going to abandon them. And they are, these are Serenre worshippers now. So basically this farming village that used to be very big on Gozreh for, protection from the air and the waves and for seeing that the seasons were plentiful, has kind of turned away, and they've gone to Serenre now. And Gozreh is pissed, and he's already ruined one person, and basically this is the Dark Storm. This invasion is the Dark Storm the Hermit was writing about, and that Gozreh and Serenre will not be here to protect them. So I gotta flesh out the town a bit more. There's a small tavern, but again, this is supposed to be a small town that A, is not friendly to them because they're occupying it, and B, is not big enough to give them anything really cool. They're not going to get a lot of weapons or anything like that. But I really should stat more things out. The mayor's called Kalon. This bronze dome building is her office. And yeah, so she's going to come out, and she is going to... maybe she comes out with a scribe, and the scribe goes to leave as she's going, so it's kind of at the same time she's going to surrender and the scribe is running. They have to decide what they want to do about that. But yeah, I think that's enough. I think I need to look a little bit more about statting things up, and I don't need to bore everybody with that while we're doing it. But I think that's how the next session's going to go. And like I said, I have these 4 people. I'm hoping a 5th comes. I don't know who is going to, but I want G-Pain to come back. I want the Bard back in the mix. So yeah, I'm not going to go into statting everything up. I did take some notes. I like how this is going to go. I like the notes we'd had. Got some good suggestions. Thanks, Bijo. Which 4 are coming? The same 4 are coming. So I got the same. So Puck, Squirrel, Franco, and Even have all RSVP'd yes. I'll check the score real quick to see if anybody else has. Nope. So they have all RSVP'd yes. G-Pain, the Bard, said maybe. He needs to talk to his wife to see if he can get the night off. But we'll see. And like I said, there are some others, Fumbar's in the mix. He's played once. Hemo, my brother, he's too busy. He's in a hockey league now, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to play on Saturday nights. And Larry's Karen, the champion, hasn't played at all. He came to a test session where I ran an arena fight, and he played, and he had a good time, but I don't think he's made it yet. Yeah, it's true. We got a whole week, so someone could still join. And I've got some bites from other people, too, other friends who have actually watched the videos. Someone was live, my friend Eric, from here in Maryland, was watching last week, and he said he wants to get in on it if he can find the time. So yeah, I'm getting some more things, and like I said, it's basically it's a pickup game. It's whoever shows up every week gets to come. So I'm hoping to get a more rotating cast of characters. It seemed you said you wish you had free time. You're in 4 games. You're running 2 and you're playing 2. You've got plenty of free time. You're just choosing to spend it there. Yeah, you got enough free time to pop into my stream and give me ideas about my game while you're running 2 of your own. 5 sessions. It's insane. You're crazy. I don't know how you get the time. I'm running 2 right now, but the Hell's Vengeance one is kind of fizzling out. I'm hoping that it gets back up. Did you cancel for me? Oh, I'm honored. So yeah, so I'm gonna beef up this stuff a little bit, but again, I think the encounters are mostly balanced. Oh, they canceled. Okay. And you need your fix, so you came to me. Okay, so I'm not the reason. I'm the methadone or whatever. I'm just where you're coming to get your hit. But yeah, so that's fine. I think these encounters are mostly balanced, and like I said, I'm going to chain them, bring them in, and I think that'll be fine. And then we have some good RP chances with the mayor. I gotta do a bunch of writing and kind of come up with her general demeanor. But again, I want her to be dismissive, but, you know, not of the Fae. Again, I want her to be dismissive of the other people, which I'm not sure how I'm going to play out in the scene. But I want her to dress them as Fae, and I want her to be basically extolling the virtues of, like, an ancient agreement. That this is why this is happening, blah, 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 you're Fae, we surrender. And I don't know if she gives them something to say, like, you know, this is the key to the city or something like that. So I want, like inside this, the mayor's office, there's like a symbol of Abadar for cities and law and things like that. No, the other campaign is not playing tomorrow. That campaign has not played in, I think, 3 weeks now. We were supposed to play yesterday, but my brother went to a Rangers game. Apparently you can go to hockey games again now. I haven't been keeping up. But, yeah, my brother did not play. He went to a Rangers game, and we didn't play the Hell's Vengeance Pathfinder 1 campaign yesterday. I'm not sure when that game's going to play again. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the mayor might have a key of Abadar, like a golden key that's for the town. I was thinking something like that. So, yeah, the mayor was going to have, like, a symbol of Abadar in there if they actually go into the mayor's office. And I was thinking maybe they have something like that, or something, I don't know what an elf would give to show ownership of the town. But maybe there's some ritual or something they can do to surrender to Fae. I don't know. I'll come up with something. But I want the mayor to give a somewhat flowery speech and acknowledge him as Fae and surrender. But yeah, I'll write a little bit more about that. And that's pretty much the next session. And then I plan that they will level. When I originally made all these encounters, like the ones we're going to talk about in a little bit. Yes, Abadar surrendering Gozreh. Yeah, Gozreh is pissed that this used to be a small farming community, and a farming community that supported a port. It was basically, you know, it was mostly the port, and this town kind of grew out of it. And Gozreh is pissed that everybody has basically forgotten about him, except for the people that run the small temple that no one bothers to go to anymore. Correct. Gozreh is going to be pissed. So yeah, this is going on. It's good. It's great. And then we're going to go to the next set of encounters. So when I originally designed them, I didn't have all of this build up. When I originally designed the idea, I wanted to get to the piss off Gozreh moment as quickly as possible. So I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. They take the town, then they go this, and then they fight at the temple. And I figured that'd all be first level. But we've now added a significant amount of meat between here and there. Like, they took this port city, and then they spent a day moving in, they did all these fights there, and they spent another day moving through the forest, and they finally got to the town, and then they're going to take the town. So it's going to be 4 full sessions to get the town captured. And I basically think that should be enough to level. And I've been tracking experience in a spreadsheet. They have like, the tokens in Foundry do have experience on them. I didn't really play with it. Because I like to do a little bit more than that. Like, I don't know. So basically, again, I'm currently running, and I'm not sure I'm going to stick with this, but I'm currently running it such that you get experience only for the sessions you show up at. Yeah, town victory equals level. I agree. Even if the math doesn't work out, which I assume it will, it's pretty close. If they show up to every session, they level. So I'm kind of torn on this. So part of me, because of the way it's a pickup game and people come and go, part of me thinks that you should just get experience for the games you play in. But as you can see from this little chart here, it's very obvious that basically 4 people came every week, and they're gonna level. So if Gerhardt, for example, G-Pain, aka Gerhardt, comes, and he won't level. You don't. Yeah. Okay. So are you saying that for Pathfinder 2, or in general that you don't have different experience levels? Because I've tended to agree in most of my campaigns of 3.5 and Pathfinder 1. In general. Okay. Yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about this. Especially because once you get high enough level, it becomes even more gross. Like, you don't want to have somebody who's like never played before come in at level 1 if everybody else is 3rd level or something like that. And I feel like I don't want people to miss enough sessions. Like, Funbar only plays this one, and then maybe we get to like session 8 and Funbar wants to come back, and everybody's like 2.5 or whatever, and he feels like he's so far behind he's never going to make it. They do say in the Pathfinder rules for experience that if you're behind, you get double experience for the session, so it should help you catch up. But yeah, so I'm torn both ways, because I feel like, well, I don't want to just give people levels. I don't want, like, Karen to show up and just become 2nd level or whatever it is. If higher level, 6 non-regulars, 1 level. I mean, we could do that too. I don't know. This is how I've been doing it for now, and I guess I'm gonna just kind of feel it out. I'm hoping to get a bigger mix of people coming in, but yeah, so the general idea is that they will level after this fight. Again, I don't think Gerhardt will. If Gerhardt comes, he's not going to get 800 experience from this fight. So he wouldn't, but most people would. And I'll figure it out. Let me know what you guys think. If anybody else is out there watching, let me just check. I can actually click a button to see if anybody else is watching. No, it's just you and Doom solo right now. But yeah, hey, what do you think, Doom? Have you played games with different level spreads to players at different levels? And anybody out there watching on YouTube later, let me know what you think in the comments. Because again, I could go either way on it. I don't want to just give people experience for not doing anything, but I don't want to have a disparity so bad that people don't want to play. So I'm torn. But yeah, general idea is they take the town, they level up. So all the meat that I've added there and taking the town level up, it's great. Also items, that's true too. Yeah, they won't have items if they're new. That's true. But again, so they're going to level up, and there are encounters that I had planned after this that are going to require them to, I want to scale them up now, because basically I designed them assuming people were level 1, and I should really spend some time to level them up a bit. So one of the first ones was this forest chase, where I think I've gone over it before, I'll go over it really quickly now. It's a skill check kind of encounter, and now that I have this cool, group thing that I showed you before, where like you can have a group DC, and you can have this like make a check for everybody all at once. This should go really fast. So basically the gimmick here is that there's going to be 6 skill checks, and they're different skill checks based on the that's true, you can pick out of that's good. Yeah, regulars have good gear, and others will pick out of the loot box. Okay, so keep a +1 -1 for the party. That's doable. That's kind of, yeah, so maybe I do have something set up where like people get experience if they're way far behind. I don't know. It seems like it'd be much simpler to just keep everybody the same level, but I don't know. I want there to be some kind of reward for showing up every week. Like maybe the loot is enough. The fact that you get to keep the loot you get and everything else goes back into the kitty. Double experience till they catch up is justifiable. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And I kind of like the idea of them being a bit weaker and scared. Like, you know, you don't want to be the ones in the front if people are playing more and more experienced and they're better ass. I agree. Again, I feel like there's virtue in both. And I think for now I'm going to do this until it gets to a point where it's not tenable. And then I don't know if I'm just going to say, fine, everybody else gets a level or something like that. Or I'm tired of doing this. Everybody's the same level now. But for now, I think I'm going to keep it separate and kind of just feel it out. So the people that are going to be leading the strike on this town are basically the ones that are going to level. These 4 people have come to every session: Franco, Puck, Even, and Squirrel. So I think that they're all going to do it. I appreciate all the input. Again, I'm kind of new to Pathfinder 2. I've been playing 3.5 and Pathfinder 1 for a while now, for like I feel like 10 years now. But I'm kind of new to 2, so I do like to hear all the input from everybody. Like I said though, this is a skill test thing. And my general idea here was I was going to have everybody roll for each one of them, and I think I have them. I got to find the actual, do I have the forest chase in one of these things? Let me look at it. Yeah, the forest chase. So, again, I was going to have different traps, so like or different skill checks. So like first is a pit trap, and I have art for all these, and I've gone through this in one of my other streams, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Journal entries, forest chase. So like they started the forest path, which is the background of that map. And then they have this pit trap. So like they're running and there's a pit trap. Do they notice it? Do they fall into it? So basically there's a perception check to either climb out or jump away. And a perception check to see if they hit it. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody roll that check. And if you succeed, you get past it. If you fail, you fall into it. But if you critically succeed, you can make up for somebody failing, is the way I've chosen to do it. There's lots of different ways to run skill-based encounters like this, skill-based races, or whatever you want to call them. I think Matt Koval has a really good video that I watched where it's like you want to have X successes before Y failures. But at the end of the day, I kind of this is probably maybe a crappy GM move, but I do want the elves to win this race. So this forest chase that I guess I kind of skipped another encounter, but this forest chase I want to go into first because it's a skill-based encounter. I don't think I need to scale it up. So this chase will happen when, after they've been occupying the town, we're going to hand wave time passing, and they're going to be there for a week or so. And during that week, there's going to be a bunch of guerrilla raids on the town. These elves are pissed off, and the mayor stresses to them that although they've surrendered, like they're the town elves, the wood elves, which I believe they called Aaron, which is like of the woods and some elven language. I'm not sure if it was like Tolkien's or whatever. I did some googling. So like the Aaron, the wood elves, we don't speak for them, and they are not taking kindly to this occupation. They don't like how some of you have savaged the land, and they burned farms, they killed a bunch of people in the farmland in the woods, and they have not surrendered to you. So again, the mayor is stressing, we're not doing this, so we have no part of this, but these wood elf guerrillas are coming in and killing people. And again, I'm going to hand wave like a week has passed. I'm going to kill a bunch of NPCs, and then there's going to be a fight that we'll get into a little bit later, where the players fight the guerrillas and capture a gorilla, and get a tip off of where the guerrilla leader is. Yes, correct. Yeah, so you're right. So basically, Bijo, this chase happens after that. So basically, they get a tip off where the guerrilla leader is, and they find him, and they're going to chase him. They find these elven ruins where he's living or hiding out, and then they start chasing him. And then depending on how well they're doing during these checks, they'll basically be closer to the guerrilla leader, or they'll be further behind following his tracks. And yeah, and basically it depends on how quickly they get to the end, which is the temple. But again, because I'm just going through this real quick because we don't have to scale it up, so I just want to talk about it. But again, so all of these are going to be basically checks. Like there's a pit trap, and you can make athletics or perception. So there's always 2 skills, and one is harder than the other one. So like if you're really good, you can just jump out of the way of it, or if you're not, you can get a perception check. And if someone fails and no one can help them, if no one critically succeeded, then the players are like stuck. They're slowed, basically. And I guess maybe I should run through this with actual stats to see if this actually is not just going to be so slow that it's terrible. Yeah, I should probably. I'll do that later. I'll just run. I'll drag all the players in here and run it. Or I could do that right now, actually. If I go ahead and just go over here to PCs, and there was something else I wanted to do real quick before I forget. I took even and I made a lighter version of the token. I just opened in Photoshop and kind of lightened it, but I didn't change the actual prototype token here. Hopefully I just type pale. Yes, good, sweet. So now whenever I drag even onto the map, the pale one will come. Okay, so there's pale, there's even, and there's Franco, and let's assume the regular crew comes in. Puck, and who is the other regular one? Not Gerhardt. Squirrel, right? Squirrel, yeah, it looks like that. That's why it's different. Okay. So I grabbed all of them, and I want to take this party. I think I'm going to take it away from the players. Because, can I take it away from the players? Like, do this? No, because it's linked to Franco. I hope I didn't break Franco by doing that. No, I didn't. Okay. I want to make this owned by me. I'll do that later. But basically, I don't want it to show up on the rolls. So, because you can see that the party shows up here. So yeah, I don't want that to happen. I don't know how easily I can do that in Foundry. I can make it hostile, but I don't think that does it. I think it's like the ownership of the token is already assigned to the... Anyway, in any event, I can now do this cool thing where I can ask for a roll for everybody. So I can say, okay, everybody make a perception check. And I mash the button, and then I mash the button. And I can see what everybody does. And I could, I could put the DC in there if I was smart and had done that. I said the perception DC is a 15. So I can go ahead and I can roll that and go 15, public roll, go ahead. Everybody rolls it, and it shows you who passes, who fails. It doesn't show you crit passes and crit fails, which is kind of shitty. But I guess this isn't designed for Pathfinder 2, so it is what it is. But you can see here, so if I did this, we have 2 successes and 2 failures. So does that mean that they get stuck? By the rules I stated out loud a couple minutes ago, that would mean they would be slowed. And like by this metric, I'm not sure. Yeah, like they only have like +4s, +5s. Like this might not be tenable. I was thinking like, oh, it would be nice. The crit successes can do it, could help the failures. But maybe maybe you make it that if you fail, you spend an extra round moving forward. But if you crit fail, you're stuck. And if you crit succeed, you can help somebody get rid of a crit failure, or you can move forward twice. Something. 2 can go ahead. Yeah, I mean, we could split the party too. That's also true. But yeah, I think I really definitely need to spend some time going over the actual math of this and figuring out like how easy is this, because it does look harder than I wanted it to be. So then if I came over here and did the same sort of thing, request a roll, do an athletics check. Why is athletics not here? It is. I'm just dumb. All right. Yeah, see, they rolled really poorly. I didn't set the DC, but I think, what did I have it at, 12? 13. So only one of them made it. Yeah, so maybe I need to lower the DCs, or maybe I need to figure out how else to do the skill check. But, yeah, it looks like the gimmick as it stands right now isn't working, so I'm going to have to scale this down a bit. I do want them to be successful, but I want them to be slower than the elves. I'm going to be rolling the elves things privately and mostly hand-waving it, but also the Guerrillas stats are pretty good, so they should be able to move through this. But I want them to be a little flustered in the fact that they're moving, like, you know, maybe they move 1, maybe they do well and they move 2, and then they have a problem at this one, they fall in a pit trap or something like that. And the elves are just kind of like, you know, this elf guerrilla leader is kind of just breezing through this while they're doing it. And I put Opilius's troops on the thing too, on a track. I wasn't sure if I actually wanted to have them, but basically I figured they would also go slow, either because they're well armored or they don't move through the forest as well as the goblins do. But basically I wanted to have it like if the party was moving ahead, they are rolling privately and moving even slower than the party. So that if Opilius's troops are following, or, you know, maybe just the goblins were sent out and they did this all by themselves, if I choose that Opilius's army, they'll also be slow. So the goblins will feel good about the fact that they're doing better than the Opilius's troops, but bad that they're going to do worse than the elves. But it does look like I need some balance here, so I need to take another look at that. I won't do that math right now. I'll jump into another thing, and if we have time, I can jump back into that at the end. So, one of the other fights here is this forest canopy one. This is the fight where basically they're going to fight gorillas, and this is the fight that leads to the one we just talked about. So I have this elf gorilla, which I think was a drow ranger that I took out of the NPC codex, and I kind of just de-drowed it to make it a regular elf. And I've actually used this same token before for the hunter. I made it weak, so it's kind of like a step down one. And they're okay. They have +9s to hit with their weapons, their melee and range weapons. They have this cool ability. First off, they have attacks opportunity, which is neat in Pathfinder 2 that not everybody does. So they got that going for them. And so quick draw is cool because you can draw weapon and strike. And skewer is also cool because you get a bonus to hit and you make them bleed. It's 1d6 -4, so it's not a whole lot of bleed damage, but basically if they got their rapier out, they can stab you and make it 3 actions to pass a check. What do you mean by 3 actions to pass a check? Like you auto pass it, or what do you mean? You mean 3 of the 4 need to pass to get through? Yeah, maybe if you have a... Okay, well, I'll ask if that's what you wanted first, but as you're answering, and I'll just assume that's what you mean. Then yeah, maybe each successful roll is like a +1, and each failure is a -1, and then crits are +2 either way. Each round triggers 3... I get... 3 tries seems like a lot. I also like the idea of just having the button that I can just mash and everybody rolls it. So, yeah, I think either I could use the group DC feature they have here, like basically where they average everything together, and then it's basically how well everybody did, and it's like basically everybody's helping everybody move up, and people's... That might be a good idea. It's like just taking the average. Or like I was saying before, if I made it so that every successful one is a +1, every crit success is a +2, and every failure is a -1, every crit failure is a -2. So it's kind of like it's anchoring the people around failures and successes more than just the average of everything. Because I feel like the average could be really bad. If someone's like really bad at athletics, for example, they might just drag everybody else down the entire time. But I did split it up. I didn't go through all of the chase things, but I tried to use different skills. I have athletics perception, survival athletics, athletics perception. So I'm kind of heavy on those skills, I guess. The bear's den is a little more interesting because you can get nature, you can notice the den before you see it, and you can stealth around it, or you can know how to handle the bears, or you can scare them away. And then again, perception athletics. So there's only, like, I know there's a lot of skills that I didn't use here, but for the most part, you're racing through a forested area. So I feel like the skills that I've chosen are what you use to do that. I also want to stress that I don't have a note here for it, but if there's a creative way to use another skill, if someone says they want to try to use acrobatics to get out of the tangled forest, like to swing on vines or something, I would totally be okay with that. I would totally be okay with people narratively describing how they want to use something they're better at to do this. I'll describe the scene, and we have, like I said, we have art for all those pieces. So you can say, okay, you're in this tangled forest, what are you going to do? And if Franco says, I want to jump on those trees, I want to start swinging from vines if there are, I'll let him do it. You know, whatever. There's a rushing river, there's steep hills to climb, there's a bear's den, and deep mud at the end. So yeah, so they move through all that, but we jump to another scene. 3 helping, 1 person can grant +6. That's, yeah, definitely could have helping. My mind keeps coming back to this average now. I think either the average or I think the passing and the yeah, like passing being +1. And maybe I scale things down a bit more. But yeah, I'll definitely come back to the actual math of it, but I do like the idea of people doing well pulling people who are not doing well forward, and people who are doing extremely poorly pulling people backwards. And I think there'll be a lot of cool opportunities for roleplay there, both ways. Like, wow, Squirrel, you're really great at getting us through these woods. And like, Jesus Christ, Puck, could you do something once? Could you move through the mud just once? Picking on Puck over here. Anyway, jumping over here. So this fight is an elf gorilla. It's a level 1 creature, and another elf gorilla, another level 1 creature, and an elf chemist, which is a level 1 alchemist that has a bunch of cool stuff, bunch of bombs, different kinds of bombs. And I like how in Pathfinder 2 the bombs, they all do the same, like mostly do the same amount of damage, and they have different abilities. Like the bottled lightning, I think, makes things flat-footed. If I click that, it does it too, right? And it gives you the buttons. On a hit, they become flat-footed. So that's cool. You're playing with like roguish things, and then this alchemist fire lights you on fire. Acid, persistent acid damage and 1 splash damage. And does fire just light you on fire? Yeah, 1 persistent fire damage. It's more heads up ideas. You don't like the average? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's okay. You can jump back and forth between the race and this. It's fine. I agree that the average idea, it kind of takes away from someone doing really well as being the helper, and also the average, it takes away individual successes. So like if I roll a 28 and everybody else rolls a 3 and the average ends up being whatever the hell that is, the average ends up being sub 10. That's not fun. That's not me doing really well and helping. So I do like the idea of, again, like I rolled really well, I moved everybody ahead 2, and I made up for 2 people failing because of that. But, you know, I have to finesse the numbers a bit more, but I do think having individual successes matter more, and having these green check marks make people excited, like, oh, I did that really well, I'm the one helping the team. Yeah, so the group one, I agree with you. I don't think I should do that. I'm with you. But yeah, jumping back to this one again. So I designed this to be a difficult encounter for a level 1 party. So there are 3 level 1 NPCs in here. So party level is 40, that's 120. So that's the bottom of severe. That's what it was before. But if this is changed now, if everybody is 2nd level, exactly, now they'll be level 2. So now it's gone from a bottom line severe encounter to, these are party level -1, that's 30 is 90. They've gone to basically, you know, the top end of moderate, the middle of moderate. So I have to figure out, what am I going to do here? How are we going to do this? The easiest answer is to make the gorillas strong. I could make them 2, or I can make the alchemists stronger. So currently the problem with that is that the gorilla leader I have is currently a level, he's a strong gorilla. So I might need to scale him up too. So let's see, if I made, the cool thing about Pathfinder and this cool thing is that everything I just said is true now if I scale them up. If I made them all strong, everybody here, it would be the exact same encounter as before. So I take all these creature 1s and I made them elite. I say strong, but the word is elite. And they basically get +2 to everything is what that does. It gives a bunch of hit points and +2 to everything. It goes from 18 to 28, so 10 hit points, it's a lot. But +2 to all their rolls and all their saves and things like that. And yeah, I agree. There should definitely be hit and run kind of stuff going on here. But I do want I want the fight to happen, and I want the PCs to win, and I want them to take one alive. I'll just hand wave that one is alive no matter what happens, unless they start biting off limbs again, like Even is wont to do. So if I took everything and made it strong again, then the same math holds true. So if I made them all strong and they were all level 2, they'd all be party level, and it'd be back to 120, be back to a severe encounter. So that's all I'd really have to do with the way Pathfinder 2 works, is you just mash the elite button in Foundry, and it adds you get like a bunch of hit points and +2 to all their rolls, and all of a sudden this gorilla here, instead of having a +9, now has a +11, and he hits for. You can tell that it's adding this +2 for strong, or elite, and now he's dealing 1d6 +4 instead of 1d6 +2. So I mean that might be enough. That might be all you need, and I could just go ahead and I could do this. I could just open all of them, make them elite, and call it a day if I wanted to. They're going to be 2nd level, and I don't know enough about. Again, like I haven't played enough Pathfinder 2 to know a whole lot about like when the players hit 2nd level. I don't know how much power that actually adds. Like when I made this guy elite and he went to 30 hit points, that seems like a lot of hit points. It's true, one could always disappear if it goes sideways, or even just during the fight. I guess if they have like tunnels and stuff like that. They could disappear and they go to where he was. They think, oh, he just hid behind the thing, and they find a tunnel, and all of a sudden he's on the other side of the map. That could be really cool. I like that a lot, because these are gorillas. You're fighting them in the woods. And like I said, I agreed. Well, that's a really fun idea. I'll definitely make use of that. These are gorillas. They've been attacking the city, and Opilius ordered patrols to go find these guys, and the patrols keep coming back, just battered and/or not coming back anymore. So I figured we'll have the party come in, and then this gorilla will harass them, and then there'll be another gorilla. I like Bijo's idea of maybe the other gorilla kind of pops in from a different spot, or this one takes a pot shot and hides, and they go to find him, and he's just gone. They find a tunnel, and then they get shot from the side, and they just feel like there's more than there are. And then there's this chemist who is basically going to be lobbing bombs. So he's going to wait for a little bit of the harassment to happen, and the party's going to be like, okay, so we're settling in, we have this ranger fight, they're doing this annoying thing where they pop into the ground, and all of a sudden a chemist throws a firebomb on them. And they're like, oh, these rangers are pretty good. The short bow is powerful enough, but then if they get in close and they have to deal with the skewer, you get stabbed, you get +1 to hit, and boom, now all of a sudden you're bleeding. So I really like this kind of fight, and I do want this to be severe. So what I did again, I made everybody elite here, so I pulled it back up to party level times 3 of them. It goes to 120, so it's the bottom tier of severe. If 5 people come, that I need to add another thing. Basically, I need to add another party level -1. So I could add another weak gorilla, would be a good idea, to kind of make that back up. Or I could add another elite gorilla. Another elite gorilla would only take it to 160. Well, I guess 160 is extreme. I don't want it to be extreme. I do want it to be severe. I want it to be. Well, no, because again, if another person was here, severe would be 150. So it still would be extreme. Though. It would just be on the low end of it. But again, I do want this to be a very difficult fight. I want to kind of stress narratively before the session. Again, when I'm talking about the week has passed, all these people have died, and I want to make notes of NPCs who have died. Traps in the tunnels? That might be a bit much. More snares? I guess. That could be fun. I kind of like, the party was excited about the snares. We talked about it on Discord a bit. They very much liked the weird hunter's traps. And I think Squirrel's going to take some, maybe in a couple levels. I don't know if he's going to be a snare type ranger or what. But they were pretty excited. They were stoked about the P trap and all the stuff that was going on there. But yeah, so yeah, I just went ahead and I made them elite, and I figured that's easy enough to do. I thought that would take more finessing, more playing around, but I think just making those elite, the way the Pathfinder difficulty curve works, that was very easy to do, and I feel like that's right. And I like I said, I think I could go ahead and like copy this guy, and Elk Gorilla 3, and I could make him, like I said, I could make him just normal, non-elite, and then I could just add him into the woods over there. And then if I need him, if the fight's going poorly, I could always just have him pop out. And there you go, boom. Now that becomes like a top-end severe encounter. And I want this to be severe. I want this to be, like I was saying before, I kind of got sidetracked. I want to narrate all, like, they're losing these NPCs, people are dying, this occupation has been bloody, these wood elves, these errands, are not taking kindly to this, and they're winning. And whenever we go out into their woods, we lose people. And this is one of those instances where, like, it feels like, oh man, we could lose people. This is going to be a bloody fight. You're getting jumped by these guys that are skewering you and shooting you with their bows, and this other guy's throwing fire bombs at you, and it hurts. Zip lines. I don't know if I want to use zip lines and elves swinging on the trees. Maybe that seems more druish than rangerish, but it's possible. Again, the way this map is drawn, it looks like there's a bunch of cut trees, but I want to stress that's not the case. It's kind of just like cross sections of the trees. Wild elves, you're right. They're the wood elves, man. They're here. This is their land. I definitely think people could be climbing trees and jumping down from trees. That's possible. Vines might be a bit much, but it's not the worst idea. I like it. They were doing a lot of that in the first encounter. The goblins were swinging off the masts of the boat. And once we get to the Odyssey part of it, I figure I'm gonna have a lot of that. There's gonna be a lot of pirate shenanigans swinging off ropes. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on here. I think this guerrilla fight. I'm gonna change up the music too. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing before, when I was telling you I started listening to one of the albums from Dark Ventures by Dark Fantasy Studio, just to have. Again, I bought this during the Humble Bundle. They had like a sale where you get like 10 albums for $30, whatever it was. And there's some pretty good adventure music in there. And I'm gonna want to just put this on in the background to hear some stuff. And if anything jumps out at me as being like really good, I might use it. This is called Primal, and I like the idea of this being like a druid fight. I've heard this one before. Make it a little louder. Yeah, this is a good one. So not for what we're doing right now, but yeah, I like if there's some sort of I don't think it's good for the Town of Thaeth druid one, because this is more wild. I can't explain it, but it's not really what I want to use for this fight. But it's something I do want to have in my repertoire, ready to go. And I'm really happy to have a bunch of music that is usable. Like I actually have a license to. There's some free stuff out there. If you use Foundry, I think is it Michael Gelfie? Let me see if there's a Michael Gelfie audio pack. You can get it. They have a bunch of audio for free that Michael Gelfie has put out. He also has his own Patreon and I think a Bandcamp thing where you can download some music and pay for some music. And he has some really good stuff. Definitely check him out if you're looking for music for your sessions. And yeah, so I just scaled this up really quick. That was really easy. And I think this is pretty good. I mean, obviously I'm going to have to look at it when I actually have second level characters, when the people go through and actually level up their PCs and make sure things aren't too gross. But I think just making all these guys elite rangers and an elite alchemist is enough. I think that's pretty good. Lower that. I don't know how loud that is compared to my voice. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. And like I said, I want this to be severe. I want this to be scary. I want them to be getting hurt during this fight. I want them to win, obviously. And I like the idea of the guerrillas popping on different holes and stuff, like, you know, spending an action to hide and run. And they're using short bows. So they don't have to use crossbows to reload or anything like that. So I like the idea of them hit and run, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think this is pretty good. This is going to go really well. And like I said before, the chemist here has like three different bombs: the fire, the lightning, and the acid flask, and 2 healing potions, which could be very annoying. Or it could be really good loot if you kill him. I just like the idea of them engaging these rangers and dealing with their bullcrap, especially if they're going under the tunnels and stuff like that, or climbing trees, whatever's going on. And then the alchemist comes out and like, oh, and by the way, boom, fire explosion, or boom, you're flat-footed. That'd be really annoying if he was hiding behind a tree and taking cover and throwing bombs. So I like it. And the point of this fight is to give them a serious encounter where they realize this is why people have been dying, and they're going to take one of them alive, presumably interrogate them. Smoke sticks. I like those, yeah. We gave them some in the Hermit thing. I don't know how they're going to use them, but they have them for the city attack. I'm not sure. I think people did take them on their sheet. They're no longer in the loot. I'm pretty sure that's true. Yeah, they're gone. Someone, like, I think 2 people took them. Like, one person took one, and another one took another one. The acid flask is still there. I think Franco wanted it, but yeah, 2 of them took a sticks. I guess the elves could use it too in the forest. I do like cover like that. That's usually really good, especially if you're retreating. You use it and then you're just gone. I like it. But yeah, again, so they're going to take someone alive. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the chemist or a gorilla or whatever. But basically, they're going to interrogate them, and presumably, I can't control what they ask, obviously, but presumably, their goal was to find this guerrilla leader. So they're going to go out and hopefully question them about the guerrilla leader. And the guy will give it up. The guy wants to survive. He believes that if he gives up the information, he'll be left alive, because he's kind of a coward guy. And yeah, so that's kind of what I think is going to happen, and then that will lead into the chase that we talked about, which I'll tweak a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to tweak it tonight or if I'm going to tweak it. We'll see how much time we have left. That's going to be into this chase where the elves will eventually win, but I'm hoping the party can be competitive. I want them to feel a little bit of a struggle. I want this to be a somewhat quick, skill-based chase. This song is okay. Great. I want this to be a quick skill-based chase, and where the party like kind of stumbles and fumbles, and I want it to again be a little funny because we have this goblin campaign. It just ended up being a goblin campaign, and I really like when things don't go the right way. I like when the goblins stumble, and it becomes very funny very quickly, like when they start crit failing in combat, or like they fail to climb a wall or something, and it's because they're goblins. There's absolutely no like, oh, how could that happen to me? It's like, oh, I'm a goblin. This is what happens to goblins. And I like the idea of that. So I'm hoping that during these skill checks, they do some crit fumbles. They have some things like that where it's like, oh, yeah, we just like fell into the pit trap, guys. Sorry. And maybe they have some crit successes where they are able to make up some ground. But I do want yes. Correct. Agreed. The result of the race doesn't matter. They are never going to, or they should never catch the elves. If they start crit succeeding, if the entire party crit succeeds a couple in a row, it's going to be very hard for me to justify the elves being ahead. But maybe they can do something like Squirrel gets off a shot before. Like, it's not, I don't want to actually start a fight as a result of this. I want them to be like, maybe they get some minor bonus, like they get a shot off before the elf keeps running, or something like that. But agreed, it's going to be basically what they see at the end of the race. So depending on how closely they finish, they're going to see him running, or they're basically going on his tracks, if not. So this is going to be the next session. Session 4 is taking the town. Session 5 is the stuff we've won over. Going over the... I could go ahead. I should actually make these... I should change some of these out. So I should take the forest cabin and... turn off navigation now. There's actually a button to do that quicker. Take the riverbank, turn off navigation. Homestead, turn off navigation. Forest clearing, turn off navigation. And then go ahead and add the new one. So, forest canopy, toggle navigation, me only for now. And the water temple, toggle navigation. Okay, so, like I said, the forest canopy is going to lead into the forest chase. They do a bunch of rolls. So seriously, yeah, I think Temple Session is 5. Do you think it's too much? Because again, Session 5 is going to be narrating the week that's passed, Forest Canopy fight, the chase scene, and then the temple. And I feel like that might be a lot. I really don't want to have it be that they get to the temple and the next session starts with the temple. But I don't know. I don't think the temple is a super long fight. It's true. Agreed. Yeah, how much that takes and how long all that other stuff goes. I'm thinking that the skill check one will go quickly because there's not like a whole lot of role playing. There's not a lot of fighting. Well, there might be role playing. I might be wrong. Yeah, it's true. It depends how much goes on in the town. I don't know how much is going to get done in the session that they take the town, and then we're going to start, and we're going to say a week has passed, and maybe they want to do stuff in the town, or maybe they want to talk in the town before they leave. Maybe they want to talk to the mayor. Maybe they want to ask about, well, who's the blacksmith? Yeah, interrogating of the captured elf. That's time to. You're right. You're not wrong. That's something I didn't think about either. So while they're in the forest canopy, they do this fight. So I've already talked. I've talked for at least like a half hour, probably, talking about the narration. You think it'll fit? Then the fight, give it an hour, like 45 minutes, an hour for the fight, and then another half hour talking. That's already 2 hours. And then we do the skill check. I don't know. That's tight. That's tight. We might be able to go longer if people are up for it, like if we're about to do the fight, but I don't want to make that a habit. I could speed things along a little bit if things are dragging. I could always figure out something to do. But yeah. You think the race will be quick? I think the race will be pretty quick too, especially because I have that macro. I don't have to wait for people to hit buttons. I can roll the checks for them. I can explain the scene, roll the button. I feel like whenever you start doing that for players, it seems like I'm taking away agency. Where it's like, okay, we're doing a scene now. I describe it to you, I mash the button to roll for everybody. And then I resolve it, and then you make the next button mash. And like the players aren't even doing anything. I guess like I might want to wait, because when you do that, the checks. Where am I going here? I go back to the forest chase here. When I do this and I have the roll and I say, okay, everybody make a 12 perception check. They can click, like the individual players can click this, and I think that might be better. Might be more interesting that they get to click if they feel the agency of doing the click, even though it would be much faster for me to just mash this button. I do feel like letting the players roll the dice matters. So maybe I'll have them do that, and if it's going slowly or if people are lagging, maybe I'll just start mashing the button for them. Yeah, agreed. Let them take the action. Especially because I also want to make it so that they can, like I said before, if they have a creative way to get around the situation, I'd have them roll a separate check. Like if Franco says, I want to swing off the vines, I'll say, okay, go ahead, you make an athletics check, or whatever, acrobatics check, whatever I want to make it. I think athletics would be swinging. Anyway, so I might have people do other things like that. So there will be some time spent there, but I do think this will go pretty quick. It's only going to be 5 checks, and then me describing each part of the scene. Like, again, it's just like, oh, you're running, and before you know it, there's a pit trap. You go to step, and there is the ground in front of you gives, and you have to make a check, and you can basically, there's not just one pit trap, it's basically a bunch of pit traps going around. So then the whole party's like, oh, okay, there's pit traps here, I need to make perception checks, I need to make athletics checks to kind of jump out of the way. And I agree, let's let them take action, let's let them roll the things. And if it starts getting really slow and I think that I'm not going to have enough time for the temple, I can kind of speed it up a little bit. But the gimmick is, they do that first thing, they do this forest chase, they get to the water temple, and depending on how well they do in the chase, they will either they'll be on his heels as he bursts through this door, or they'll be following his trail. And maybe if they do really well during those checks, maybe they've got a shot or two off on him, and we can have the guerrilla leader do something else. Okay, so the guerrilla leader is not a strong ranger. So he's a level 1 ranger, so I should probably just level him up. I made him like a PC. I just built him like a PC, it looks like. So I could scale him up too. But so anyway, they chase the elf. He comes into this temple, and as I said in yeah, correct. Either they catch him running and screaming for sanctuary, and they see him burst through the door, or he's already been there and they're just following the trail. Agreed. So yeah, as I said in the previous prep sessions, the gimmick here is that this elf is requesting sanctuary. This wood elf is running here, and he's very obviously the leader of the guerrillas. And the party has been told over and over again, like, your job is to get this guy, your job is to kill this guy. This guy is responsible for the death of all these NPCs, some of which I hope matter to the party. I'm going to try to ingratiate them to the party during the next session. And there are a couple that have been going around, and I've started sharing art and stuff with them. with the party, but I haven't. I didn't make any handouts for them. I should do that too. But basically, like, let me see. Go to recurring NPCs. I can go to like Lynn, for example. I can just show you some of them. I think I have them in the folders, right? If I go to Odyssey handouts, no portraits. Yeah, so I have like Auric is this dwarf hunter that's kind of part of Even's backstory. He's nice to Even and him go way back. They both love food, and Lynn is the gnome herbalist that was in a previous session, but tried to patch up the party, and then Fumbar the alchemist tried to steal from them. So I started like writing up in Discord basically a little bit more about them and kind of the interactions they would have had on the boat and stuff like that. And yes, I do need pictures of the nasty NPCs who kill elves. So that's kind of the thing I need to do, and I need to introduce them. So like basically when the party is done taking the town is surrendered. There's going to be like a dwarf with a necklace full of ears, and there's going to be an orc or half orc wearing elf scalps with their beautiful hair as like shoulder pads. And I need to have some pictures of those people. I need to have the names out, and I did. As I said before, I have like a list of people in the army. I have army NPCs over here, which is kind of going through that. And I started noting, like, okay, so there's two dwarves, which are basically having a contest. They have elf ears on a necklace, and they're having a little contest of who can have the most elf ears. And the Auric is the one I just had a picture of that I showed you. Connected to Even, protective. He's very nice to Even because Even helped him survive a siege by teaching him how to grow mushrooms in dark places. They go way back. And then, like, yeah, this one halfling has a pocket full of eyeballs, and he's, like, basically eating, like, olives. Disgusting. And I want to stress that some of these people are heinous, horrible people. This is what I was talking to Bijo about last week. Basically, you know, they're scalping. They're the kind of savages that the fisherman warned these goblins not to be. And the wood elves are not, like... They've basically marked these people. They've made a note of these people who moved through their woods and treated everything so terribly, and these people are going to die. So I gave them names, and I really need to give them some art so that the players, when they take the town and they're talking to these people, maybe spend some more time learning about them, or at least hearing their names and seeing their pictures, and then they'll say like these are the people that have been dying. So the wood elves are getting revenge on the people who were the most heinous first, and I want them to know these NPCs that are dying. I don't want to just say, okay, like you had 60 people, 10 people died last week. I want to say Lucina died, and she was scalped, and then I want them to kind of to get that vibe going. So that's more role playing. I'm hoping that some of that happens during the end of the town siege episode. Episode session, whatever you want to call it. I think after the mayor's speech, again, we'll have some time for the NPCs to show up and to the goblins to be really grossed out by the gruesome acts of some of these other people. And I'll get some art. I'll Google around, get some art, find some good stuff. I'm not commissioning anything yet. I want to start doing it though. I really want to get a commission of the party. I want to get some actual art drawn up for them. I'm kind of excited. I got to start looking for good goblin in the Paizo Galarian style goblins. I need to find someone who's good at that art. But yeah, so they get here to this temple, and there are going to be some acolytes, and I want these acolytes to be like a pushover. Like they're level 0, right? They're weak, whatever acolyte I found. And there's two of them. One of them, this one here is like, again, they're invisible right now, so it's kind of hard to see them. But this one has like a net, because it's a Gozreh temple. So they're gonna watch this elf burst into a Gozreh temple if they're fast enough, screaming for sanctuary, and these elves are gonna close the door. And when the party shows up, they're gonna come in over here, and they're either gonna knock on the door or they're gonna just break it down. And if they do knock, they're gonna say, "Go away. The elves don't want you in this place." And if they try to negotiate through the door, the elves will explain that the ranger has requested sanctuary. And they're probably going to shout, "That's bullshit. We're going to come in and break it down." I will also allow a knowledge check to know that temples of Gozreh are usually open to the air and or the sea. And this one is open to the sea. So if they figure that out, again, they're going to start over here. And I don't know if I have fog vision turned on. I might want to work that in, because I don't want them to just see the inside of the temple when they start. So I will have to look. I did draw the walls. So I bet if I put them here, and I'm pretty sure do I have fog vision on? Let me see. Token vision, global illumination. I have turned off. All right, let me do that. Save changes. And if I took a player token, if I took like Franco and I dropped it over here, what do they see if I click on them? Yeah, that might work. And then you could kind of open it up and they'd see that. And then I turn on global illumination so it's like super bright, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of how I want to do it. So I don't want them to know that it's open at the back. I want them to have to make a knowledge check to know that. And then if they did take the time to scout around or to climb up on the roof, they'd see that there's this big opening on the back. So they could sneak in the back if they wanted to. Or they could just break down the door. And the gimmick is, of course, that Gozreh doesn't like that. And the priests of Gozreh don't like that. So the acolytes here are going to try to hold the door. But once the goblins get in, like they're a pushover. They have 6 hit points. So like if they're not even really going to try to stop them, they're going to just hold their hands up and try to slow them down. And if the goblins decide, hey, we're going to slaughter them, they're going to kill them in like 1 hit probably. And then they come in and then they have to have a fight here. And this is the fight I need to scale up with the 20 minutes I have left here. Yes, they might squeeze in somewhere else, but I'm hoping they just kick down the door. But yeah, maybe they'll say like, are there windows? And I don't actually see any, but I would just say, oh, there's some in the front. But I don't see any in the main building, which is kind of odd to me. But I could just say, yes, there are windows. But they'll sneak in. So this is the fight I think I need to scale up. So again, I want the acolytes in front to just be a slaughter fest. I'm totally fine with them being party level -2. Just die. On the inside, what I have is, I have this elf priestess, which is a level 1. Again, I took something from the NPC codex, and I forgot what I stole. But it is like a water-based cleric. Yeah, correct. Definitely stained glass windows, they'll break in. Agreed. I'll just say that they're around. If they want one, they can find one, and we'll make it work. But this is a water-based divine spell casting thing. So they have, Chill Touch is a big one, Shield, 2 heals, and again, the Gozreh, Gust of Wind titles. I changed the spell list a bit. So basically, I like the idea of Tidal Surge is cool. You basically kind of push things around a bit. It's kind of like Hydraulic Push used to be, I think. And Gust of Wind is kind of the same thing. So her specialty is basically moving things around, and she can heal a bit. And I might scale her up, because again, I designed this all as level 1, so I think I might want to scale things up. I could just give them +2, but I might try to give them more spells. I don't know how I don't think the elite thing gives you more spells or anything, right? It makes the spell numbers go up, but I don't think it doesn't give me any extra spells. Like, it's not smart enough to do that, obviously. So I might look into that. I might figure out what else I want to give her to cast. But the gimmick is, she's the priestess, and there's also here a Triton, which is a level 2 thing, and maybe you want to make it Elite Triton, or maybe you just want to make it a level 2 and scale up everything else around it. But he's not even that great, really. He has a bunch of hit points, decent armor, and he has this aquatic ally thing. He blows on a conch shell. And he summons an animal. I've had a bunch of them over here. I've basically decided I want the octopus. I like the beak and the arm. It's got good hits, and there's grab on the arm, and there's venom on the beak. I really like that as a thing. And also, it's kind of a running joke. Nas, one of the characters that plays Even, the guy that plays Even, he likes octopuses a lot. So octopi and squids. So I'll probably just go with the octopus. I think that's fun. So the Triton's gonna blow in his conch shell and summon an octopus to come out and play. And this priestess is basically gonna focus on pushing things around. And yes, correct. Yeah, grab and pull back into the water. Yes, correct. Nas likes to do that on his other character with a crocodile, because crocodiles in Pathfinder 1 have that death roll ability. So he likes to bite, grab, pull to water, and death roll, and that usually murders whatever he's dealing with. That's one of his favorite combos in Pathfinder 1. So yeah, this priestess, I'm not going to have her high in a strategic position or anything like that. I'm going to have her kind of like out there. Like, this is her church. What are you doing here? So I probably will level her up. I could make her elite, and that doesn't even make her that much better, because it doesn't give her an actual spell change. I guess I'd have to look at how many spells you get from leveling up. But she wouldn't get any level 2 spells, I'm pretty sure. So basically I'd just be adding another level 1 spell, I think. Divine. Oh no, I don't want another. Well, let me see. Prepared, create. Yeah, I don't want it. Yeah, I don't want a whole another list. So yeah, that's not right. That's not what I want. I basically just want to be able to add something to this list. Yeah, I can. There you go. I can just add another spell down there. So, what's a good cleric spell? Make her level 3. Well, let's see. So in the total fight, I want to have this Triton is a level 2. I can make it tougher. This is a level 2 priestess, and I want to have this guerrilla leader, which I do right now. It's a level 1 ranger. I do want to make it higher. So if they were all level 2, like I said before, that's back to being severe, right? That's if they were all level 2, they'd be party level. That would be 120, which is the beginning of severe. But this is the last fight of the chapter, so maybe it should be severe. Maybe they should be even higher than severe. But if I made her 3, she'd be party level +1, so she'd be 60. The Triton would be 40, and the guerrilla leader I think should be at least 2. So that would be 140? Am I doing math wrong? If they were all party level, it would only be 120. So yeah, they'd be severe. Yeah, so if I made the cleric 3, that's 100. And then yeah, so 60, 40 is 100, and another 40 is 100. Yeah, that's still severe. It's not extreme yet. If you wanted to do extreme, you'd need 2 party level +1s is 120. And then a party level is still only 100. Yeah, 160. So two 3s and a 2 would be. Oh yeah, you think the priest would be non-violent at the start? I mean, once they break into the room, like I assume they're gonna burst down, and they're probably gonna kill acolytes on the way. It's true. We could change the tactics of the elf. He's gonna be up here, so I kind of ruled again. It's invisible, so it's hard to see. But I put him up here. I ruled that like this is basically it's a curtain. You can kind of just burn through. You don't have to actually move. But I put a door there just to block the vision. You can move and run upstairs, and he's gonna be on top of the platform shooting from up there. So he's gonna declare his sanctuary, but still be armed in a church, I guess. And then yeah, so the Triton's gonna be here, and the Triton and the priestess I think are gonna be just stunned and disgusted that these people are coming in. But yeah, so I am gonna make I'm gonna make her. I'll make her elite. I'll do that. Make her elite level 2. So yeah, if I made her level 3, I can't do that easily. I'd have to actually go in and change stats. But maybe I should. Maybe I should do that. And I could leave the Triton 2, and I could make the Ranger a 3. So if I have a 3, 3, and a 2, that is officially an extreme encounter. And that might be very difficult. The Ranger... I'm sure they want to kill the Ranger, but yeah, I do like the idea that he is taunting from up there. Especially because Franco loves to taunt, too, so I agree. So yeah, I need to make him stronger. Your key ability is dexterity. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd actually have to look how to level up a Ranger. So we got a longbow and curved blade. I need to give him some more items too. I'm sure he'll say that he's untouchable, and then Squirrel will come and blast him with a crit with hunted enemy on and just murder him. Yeah, so I do like the idea that I will definitely make them I'll make 3, 3, 2. This will be severe. And the elf priestess again, her gimmick is that she is going to be pushing people into the water where the octopus and Triton are going to be fighting. And I do want to add another first level spell. So anybody on the chat, anybody have a favorite divine level 1 spell they want to talk about? Specifically, if you're curious, it's a water cleric of Gozreh. Gozreh. Yeah, she's got shield for herself. What's a good defensive? Is there a good level 1 defensive? Non-lethal ray. 2d6 bludgeoning. Heal, harm, lock, magic stone, magic weapon. Target becomes okay. Oh, that's that. I was thinking of in my hand of spiritual weapon. No, I don't want magic weapon. That's not really what. I mean, that's great, but not really what I want for here. What's protection do? That's like protection from evil, but named protection now. I mean, I'm pretty sure the goblins are all are they all evil? I say that out loud, but I don't know that it actually is. Let me see. I'm curious now. I guess I could look at it the other way. If I go back to the water temple and I go to the PC list, I can check. Even is neutral, of course. That's Naz's MO. Franco is chaotic neutral. Fumbar is chaotic neutral. Your heart is neutral. So they're not evil. Most of them are just neutral. Or maybe they haven't picked alignments and it just defaults to neutral evil. There you go, Karen. And Puck is chaotic neutral. Alright, so I could go against Chaos, I guess. I'm not sure that the priestess would know that. Yeah, that would be funny if they did something specifically to fight Fae, like if they were using cold iron weapons. I don't think there's anything here that's what Spirit Link? Well, that's fun. So this is like the Life Oracle spell that used to exist in, or Life Oracle ability, I guess, in Pathfinder 1. So yeah, you basically, if she was a battery of hit points, you could make the elf, either the elf ranger or the Triton better. I figure she's gonna get beat on though, is the problem. Like if she's over here, if that's where she is, unless I'm putting her somewhere further back, or unless she walks into the water, I figure she's the one that's gonna be beat on. Ray of Enfeelment, that's fun. Every strength thing, including attack and damage rolls. Yeah, Enfeebled could be fun. I'm not sure it's very Gozreh. Sanctuary, is that first level? It is in first one. Yeah, okay, there we go. Do you think she would cast Sanctuary on the elf? But the problem is, I mean, the elf ranger, but if the elf ranger attacks, it's gone. If the target uses a hostile action, the spell ends. Yeah, on herself. I want her to be pushing people around. Maybe she uses it after she's engaged. Like, so like she'll be bossy and she'll be pushing people into the water, and then when someone gets up on her, she goes ahead and tries to use Sanctuary. I like that. Because then she's like, no, I don't want you to do that. Yeah, so when I made her elite, it doesn't actually give me another slot, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to play with this, I think. I have to figure out how to make that happen. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, this is like spells known. Okay, I got it. Okay. So, can I got it. Got it. So, if I go ahead and put heal, gust of wind, tidal surge. If I had another one. I'm not sure how many spells she actually gets in a day, but I could do that now, and then I could go ahead and put sanctuary there. And I have to drag it like that. That's kind of annoying. Anyway. Alright. You think she starts with Sanctuary? She tries to stop the fight and asks them to what? To leave? To surrender? Yeah. I like that idea. She could kind of talk them down, but to what end? Is she going to ask them to leave after they break in, and especially if they killed acolytes? I think once the acolytes are dead, it's over. Yeah, she's not wearing green armor. She's got a crossbow, bleh, staff. Just change her to have a net. I like nets. Yeah, if they've murdered the acolytes, it's over. But yeah, I mean, if they've just pushed past the acolytes and they break in, she can admonish them for, defiling the temple, and then hopefully Just leave. Get out of here. You can't have the elf. No, we're the Church of Gozreh is protecting him, and he's up there smugly looking down from his perch, like kind of half taking cover and half smirking over the edge from his little thing up there. And yeah, I like that. I think she'll try. And I don't think she'll start with Sanctuary on. She'll be there and she'll be admonishing them, and then if they attack, she can either cast Sanctuary to buy herself some time, or she can cast one of the other spells like Tidal Surge, Gust of Wind, and then move into doing Sanctuary if she feels even more threatened than that. Yeah. So when I made this guy, I made him a ranger, and I went through the whole process of actually making a PC token for it, but I didn't actually fill it in very well. I might just want to go ahead and take a pre-made NPC again. I could reuse that poacher, because remember I scaled down the poacher when I made him the Hermit. So if I came back over here and I looked, don't have any passive you need her dead. I need my priestess dead. What do you mean? How do you mean? Why do I need a dead priestess? Well, I guess Gozreh needs to be pissed. You're right. You need her dead. You're right. But as you said, so there's also this Triton, and the Triton's definitely not going to be passive. And I'm going to be adding the blue necklace we talked about. Yeah. So yeah, I think I can make this guerrilla leader a poacher instead, and then I won't have to bother scaling up a PC token. So I'll take that. I will call this. Did I spell gorilla? Nope. You're not gonna give me tips? Come on. I think it's RRIL. Nope. I can spell. I'm great. I'm good at games. Good at spelling. Google helps me. Gorilla. G-U-E-R-R. Two R's, two L's. Ah! Alright. And I wanted to copy that token. 2 R's and 2 L's? Come on. Come on, really? Really? Alright, so that's the guerrilla leader. So now I can drag that one off. And I can put him there. So now he's a poacher. That's the one that has snares, though, so that kind of, I don't like that very much. Maybe I'll look for a different ranger, but for now, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it a, it could be a poacher as a 2, but I want it to be a 3. It could be an elite poacher. That's a lot, though. That's a lot of hit points, wow. The other one was, it was also a poacher, but I scaled him down by taking his weapon away instead of having a composite short bow. Yeah, maybe I just leave it at 2, because I remember this being really, really powerful. His short bow, plus 10 to hit, and like, what is his plus 3 damage? That's a lot. Yeah, there is a lot of cover in the room. It's true, and she should definitely be standing in some of it. No, Caps was justified. There is a lot of cover in the room. Against the ranger, too, for the players to use. Yeah, so even if he's up there and he's laughing and he's shooting, they could be hiding behind all these things. So him being super powerful isn't the end of the world, but I don't like him being too powerful. But I do want it to be scary, because if I made him elite, he'd be having a plus 12 to hit, and he'd be doing 1d6 plus 5 damage. They will hide. I agree. It's true. I should also look to see if there's any cool other rangers. If I go to 2E, go to Aeon. They might rush the stairs to get him, you mean? Because so I said they have to get over here to run up. There's no catwalk or whatever connecting the two things, so they can't just run up over here. I think those go down based on the coloring of the stairs. I don't have anything for under this place, so I'm gonna say that there's a basement that's not here. But yeah. So there's a tracker creature. I went to Aeon PRD, and I searched for the poacher, and the poacher is in the foresters category. So there's a tracker, which is 3. Is this better? It has hunt prey. Because I don't like the snare. I'm not gonna be using snares again. So is it better to just use a tracker? Is the forager ability doesn't matter. Track at full speed doesn't really matter. Composite longbow is a plus 11. 1d8 plus 3. So it's slightly better. Better hit. So it's also, it's worse than a strong poacher, I think. But what does he get? He doesn't really. He loses snares and gets forager and master tracker, which doesn't help him at all in the fight. I mean, I think it's slightly better. It's different. It's not as scary. Like, because when I made this guy, if I made him elite, that kind of scared me. So let me go over here. I'll take this one, move him further up. And let's make another one. Let's copy this guy again. Let's go. Let's go to the bestiary. I could do a special arrow or two. That could be a fun way to beef him up. Tracker. Drag the tracker in. Use the same token we just used a second ago. I feel a little more comfortable with this than the what we talked about. I think that's probably better. Yeah, I feel a little bit better because let's make him elite and compare the two again. Same hit points, 45, 45. The elite one has more armor, and the elite one hits with a plus 12, and this one hits with a plus 11. And the elite one hit, the damage was 1d6 plus 5. This one is 1d8 plus 3. So I mean that's kind of the same thing. I think the 1d6 plus 5 would average higher, obviously, but you know. So yeah, so I think I'm happier with this. I'll leave him here in case I change my mind. But this is my current plan. Yeah, they both have hunt prey. You're right. I forget that. That's true. So that will hurt. They both have it. Neither of them have like a. The rangers get like a focus ability. Like if you look at the first one I had here, I forget what they call it. Hunter's Edge is what they call it. Like, so you can get like you shoot faster, like your multiple attack penalty has a lesser penalty on it. And I think the I forget what Squirrel took. They're level 2 and should have lesser healing. What do you mean? You mean lesser healing what? Potions, or you mean the Oracle has more healing spells? Oh, the goblins, yeah. But what healing do you think they should have other than? Because I think maybe I don't know how many spells oracles get every level. I think they only get like 1. Yeah, potions from the elf. That's true. There should be. I maybe should make sure that there are enough going around, and good berries last. I forget how long they last. Oh, maybe it might only be 10 minutes actually. I think I remember reading that it was actually smaller. But good berries should last a little bit too. So yeah, they should have potions, some good berries. They should have some stuff. They should have some means to heal. I agree with you. Oh, hey, it's midnight. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it then. So I'm gonna leave the Triton as a level 2. I'm gonna the gorilla we made a level 3, and I'm gonna copy this one. I'm gonna move it to the forest chase in case it matters. So when I copied it, it lost its name, which is kind of annoying because I can't spell gorilla apparently. But yeah, so we'll do that, and I think I need to level up this priestess a bit more. I made her elite, and she went to 2. I think I need to have her be a level 3, and I need to actually have spells built for a level 3. So I will actually change her a little bit. But again, this is a session or 2 in advance now, so I'm already ahead of it. That should be fine. Bonk, bonk, done. Natural good berries, maybe. That's true. You could say that they last like a day from when they're picked. I think by default they last 10 minutes or something, right? Maybe not. Interact action. Doesn't say. I thought it says duration 10 minutes, so I don't know. I guess maybe when you pick it, they last. Again, like you can hand wave it and say that they last longer. Because I don't want to just be handing out a bunch of potions. There is an alchemist in town. I do have an alchemist on the list of NPCs. So assuming they don't slaughter everybody in town, they could have an alchemist make potions. They could force them to make potions. And they can have good berries that I say last longer. And yeah, that's it. So that's pretty much it. So the like I said, the next session is taking the town of Thaeth, doing some RP after taking it, both with the mayor, and I have to write up some stuff for, and with Opilius, who's going to be like, why the hell are they bowing to you? Why did they give you the golden key of Abadar for the city or whatever it is? And then that's going to be fun. And then the next one is, we jump ahead in time. We talk how there's been like a week of occupation. A bunch of people have died. I gotta impress upon them during I hope during this session where the town is being taken. They'll come down here. They'll, like I said, the druid will be fighting people. Maybe they'll rescue an NPC. I am planning to prep on Tuesday. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on it, but I'm hoping work does not keep me occupied. So I will be online on Tuesday to talk. Yeah, so again, for people who are new to the stream, I play every other Saturday is when we play our games, and I prep every non-playing Saturday, and I try to prep every Tuesday, but work has been dragging on me and catching me at night these days recently. But I'll try to be on like Tuesday again. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm planning this. I think we can make this work. I think this is ready to go. But yeah, I'll check back on Tuesday again, and maybe we can go over some more of the stuff, and I'll go over some of the stuff I've written for the mayor and stuff like that, and we'll figure some more stuff out. So yeah, thanks everybody who watched. Thanks everybody who chatted. It was really fun getting to know some of you. We talked a bit about Agents of Edgewatch in the chat. It seems like it's a really rough adventure for low-level characters. I haven't read the books. I haven't read any of the Pathfinder 2 adventures, actually. I should probably take a look at some of them to get a feel for stuff. But yeah, I did a bunch of the level Pathfinder 1 stuff, but none of the Pathfinder 2. But yeah, thanks for watching. I don't know all the things to say. All the check the doobly-doo, check that box, subscribe if you like. Follow me on Twitch. I export everything to YouTube. I'm on Twitter. It's in the same name everywhere. JMoskie, Moskie. Find me, chat me up. I'm around. Thanks.